And here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Now, tonight, or today, or this afternoon, or this evening, or even this morning, I have two very special guests, two people that I'm proud to say are family and have their own YouTube channels, are doing their own thing, and have great viewership. I'd like to first welcome into the room somebody that I grew up watching, in a way, blood boxing, watching this man for years, call him the godfather of the YouTube channel when it comes to boxing. So welcome him first, blood boxing. How are we doing, chap?
Hey man, how you doing, bro? It's good to be here, my brother.
It's good to have you back, brother. It's good to have you back. And of course, new to the channel, making his debut, Trap House Boxing.
Hey, how's it going, brother?
I'm happy. I'm good. I'm glad to have you both in the room. So first and foremost, for people who don't know who the two gentlemen are in the room, Blood, give people a brief overview as to who you are and how long you've been doing the business.
Okay. I have a channel on YouTube. It's called Blood Boxing Returns. Just all one word with a Z instead of an S at the end. I've had several channels on YouTube. This is probably like my fourth channel, but I've been on YouTube since 2007 uploading videos. So I've been doing this here for about 11 years and basically just covering the sport of boxing. But I've been involved in boxing social media ever since it began. Boxing social media began on just chat boards, on AOL search engines, and things like that. I was one of those guys who created a room, Boxing Talk 1 on the AOL search engine in 1996, onto fightnews.com, Eastside Boxing, and other platforms. So I've been on boxing social media since it began. So I really understand boxing social media. And I'm just doing my part in trying to represent the sport. And you're going to be seeing a whole lot more coming from me. Sometimes I get a little inactive, but you're going to see a whole bunch of history. If you want to see history, I have a lot of history on my channel right now. I have a 1980s heavyweight series going, so be on the lookout for that. And I'll start there.
2009 is when I started off, so 2007, 2 years I've been watching you, bro. So before that, so you have been an inspiration and continue to be an inspiration. So thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Okay, Trap House, tell us your story.
Okay, man. I've been on YouTube for about a couple of years now. I think I started in like 2016, and the channel's still growing. It's relatively, I wouldn't say too new, but still young. So, but I cover a lot of different, fighters. I cover fighters all around. So, just be on the lookout. You never know who I cover. And I started watching boxing in the 80s, man. My first fight I watched was Tyson versus Bone Crusher Smith, and I ain't gonna say I have been watching it all the way consistent throughout the end because I had a little detour, where I just stopped watching it for a while. Well, to be honest with you, I stopped watching it when Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas, and I wasn't able to watch HBO like that. Had a big transition in life, so and I just wasn't able to watch it. So after a while, I picked it up back up in the 90s, back in the when Floyd wasn't he wasn't a known commodity then, back in the Angel Man Freddy days, Jockey and all those guys when they was doing their thing. So I started back watching it then, being a casual fan over again, but then I picked it back up like in 2013. I started watching it on YouTube again. I didn't even know they had boxing channels on YouTube and shit. Because I didn't even watch YouTube, to be honest with you. So I started watching it on YouTube, and I ran across like Blood 78 and all those guys, and I seen it was a whole new underworld. I was like, wow. I know that boxing had a whole new, just a whole big underworld like the way it is, man. And happy to be a part of it now, and I'm here,
Thank you so much, Trap Boxing. Okay, Trap House Boxing. So, and don't forget to subscribe to both of these gentlemen's channels. Much appreciated. Now, the title here is Joshua versus Wilder, UK versus USA. Well, let me just clear something up here. I know a lot of people are under the impression that BWTM Sports is from the UK because of my accent, but BWTM Sports is USA based. Just to make that very clear, to clarify things up, it's USA based, not UK based. So I want to clarify that. So UK versus USA. I don't know how much of this is UK versus USA. It's probably got to be more UK collaborating with the USA and a crossover show. That's more like what it is. So, okay, gentlemen, this is the discussion. It's Joshua versus Wilder, or the fight that could have been, which now isn't. I'm going to start off by just asking both of you, was this fight even going to happen at the time they were scheduling this year, or was this just a free publicity stunt to get certain fighters' names out there? Blood first.
Okay, well, I think that Hearn had the intention to take another route the whole time. He never intended on fighting Deontay Wilder. And the way I've been looking at things, see, at first, we wanted to accept Anthony Joshua, okay, because he beat Klitschko. Even though Tyson Fury gave those belts away, we wanted to give him credit because we were tired of the Klitschko era. We all know that the Klitschko era had lasted over 10 years. We had the two Klitschko guys. So we were excited to see new blood in the heavyweight division. So in the beginning, me personally, I can speak for myself, I was supporting all of these guys. Anybody who would put an end to the Klitschko era, whether that be Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, whoever. Okay, Tyson Fury, he was victorious. He did his thing. He had his issues outside of the ring. There was accusations made on performance enhancers and his party drugs too, and things like that. And he retired. Anthony Joshua picked the belts up, and everybody wanted to support him in the beginning. So when they said things like, "Oh well, he's the A side" or whatever, at first we was willing to accept that, and everybody was saying, "Yeah, it would be fair for him to get the 60-40 split since he has the belts and things like that." So we were trying to be fair about the whole thing, and even Deontay Wilder himself, the champ, who had been champion in the WBC longer, even he was willing to accept like a 60-40 split. And he said that he would go over to the UK. But then Anthony Joshua had a fan base that came from, I believe a lot of them came from the promoter. A new fan base came in and they started being disrespectful. And they started calling Deontay Wilder Windmill Wilder. And they started talking about all he beat was a bunch of bums. And they started trying to discredit him. You had people on YouTube uploading funny videos, and they started talking about how Anthony Joshua was a better fighter because, he did it in 20 fights. So it made other fight fans think like, wait a minute here. Anthony Joshua is not perfect here, and you guys are being disrespectful to Deontay Wilder. So it started rubbing people wrong the way they were acting. And then the promoter, on top of that, he also was trying to discredit Deontay Wilder. And a lot of attention became focused on discrediting Deontay Wilder, and we came to his defense. And they tried to say things like, they started making up stuff like Anthony Joshua was more popular in America. That was the big one. You even had big uploaders out of the UK, and I'm not going to say no names, but uploaders and certain writers from out of these rinky-dink UK websites, they started coming up with all kind of ridiculous stuff and saying that Anthony Joshua was more popular over here. Then the numbers came out and reflected otherwise. So guys like me, we came to Wilder's defense and we used that kind of stuff against them. And all we're trying to say is, look, we want to see the fight. Then it became about the money. Okay, then they started wanting to bring up the split, and it just went all over the place with it. you know, and we're at where we at now. You know what I'm saying? They were disrespectful to Deontay Wilder first, because I know for a fact, me and several others, we were happy when Anthony Joshua beat Klitschko, and we were just hoping for the big fight, and we all gave Anthony Joshua his props. I don't know nobody who did it. And I'm going to leave it at that for right now.
Thanks for that, Blood. Trap House.
Yes. No, that fight was never gonna happen. I said a long time ago that Eddie always had a 6-fight deal, and it didn't include Deontay Wilder. You know, he already had this whole thing mapped out. You know what I'm saying? That was just like I said in your live stream the other day. He just came over here to hijack, you know, the American promo, get some promotion, and go back over there and possibility, if they ever thought about pondering the thought about fighting Wilder, then okay, the hype would be there. But if not, oh well, they don't care anyway. You know what I mean? That's what that was all about. But and the thing is this though, man, is, you know, these guys, they sitting around here saying that, you know, see, this is one thing you can justify. Okay, if one guy is popular than the other, oh yeah, he can't get leverage in when it comes down to negotiation deals and all that. Cool. So Wilder, he followed up with that. But when you sit up here and justify just because he's so popular that he don't have to fight the last champion, the champion that holds the main belt, that doesn't logically make no sense to me. I don't care how popular he is. There ain't no way around that. Bottom line is this, man. It's only two champions in the heavyweight division. So we can get an undefeated heavyweight champion, and that's Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. And all that other stuff in between and all that, it don't even really matter. I don't even know why we even arguing about who getting the money and all that other crap. One guy already said he don't really care about the money. But when you come up with bogus contracts and all this stuff, you know, coming with these little Jew contracts where you know ain't nobody agree to it. Come on, man, that's ridiculous. Now, what happened to this 24-hour contract that the WBA mandated anyway? Where is that contract at? I mean, where is that at? Where they said that they going to order the Povetkin in the Joshua fight?
Yeah, the deadline, the 24-hour made-up deadline.
Yeah. And
what happened to that?
See, yeah, what happened to it? You see what I'm saying? So all that, and then they steady just sitting up here saying that, oh, well, Wilder needs to come to this agreement. He needs. Why are you still messing with Wilder? If he said he moved on, if you don't feel like you're in the wrong, why are you steady messing with the man? Leave it alone. Evidently, it's some truth to what's going on with Wilder saying, because if he ain't bothering you, go fight Povetkin. See, the whole truth of the matter is this: they don't want to really go down Povetkin route. It's too dangerous. They're not going to probably win the first bid. You know, I highly doubt that, because he already said the other day that they were still fighting for premises to see where they're going to fight at. They wanted Wembley, Povetkin wanted Russia. So, I mean, leave Wilder alone. Wilder ain't in it no more. If you want to fight Povetkin, go fight Povetkin. Point blank, period. You know, so that's the whole thing with this. It gets to the point where I can't even listen to Eddie Hearn no more. And people don't understand this, man. Is Eddie Hearn, like, and Black Fight Fan said this, I heard recently in this hangout. He said that the reason why nobody knows Anthony Joshua over here is because everybody over here knows Eddie Hearn. People would rather see the fight over here in America. They like AJ, but they don't like Eddie. They don't care. Nobody in America cares for Eddie. Period. So now, you know, you got this coward stigma. You don't let Eddie put this coward label attached to you. Now you looking bad because it's all to benefit his pocket. And he don't want to face the truth. What Wilder was saying, he's just another white man milking another brother. It's true. That's what I hope Dillian White understands too. He's using you as a pawn. You, Big Baby Miller, all of y'all. That's it. You know, you just key components just to stay away from Wilder. Y'all just a big barrier wall that he building up. That's all he is. That's all y'all are. He gonna recycle Parker. He gonna recycle Dillian White. He gonna think about Gerald Miller. He knows, and I keep saying this, people think I'm crazy, Jared Miller is a problem for Anthony Joshua. I keep telling people that. People don't want to listen to me. They think he'll knock him out that easy. I don't believe so. I don't believe so, man. He's a problem, you know. But yeah, man. It's just sad to see how Eddie just screwing this whole thing up. See, Eddie don't care. He'd rather get any promo. He don't care. He just wants the attention. Period. And like I was getting to earlier, nobody over here knows who Anthony Joshua is because Eddie's stealing all the shine. Point blank, period. Everybody knows who he is. People would rather see the fight without Eddie Hearn involved. And I'm gonna say one last thing. That $50 million, if Joshua, if AJ, not AJ, Wilder chooses to move on, Showtime should give Deontay Wilder that $50 million. They should make a fight deal to give Deontay Wilder that $50 million, whether he fight AJ or not.
Thanks a lot, Trap House. There's a lot you said there. And a lot of it was a lot of it's all very relevant. In fact, all of it is relevant. It's relevant. I mean, what I want to say is this: there's a few things we can look at to see maybe this fight was never going to happen as we thought it would happen. When Joshua went to fight Klitschko, we knew that was going to happen. We also had the inkling. We knew that Joshua would then go and fight Parker. After he beat Parker, why was Povetkin in the country fighting David Price? When I heard after the Parker fight, they were thinking of fighting Povetkin anyway. This whole thing really went down, in my opinion, when it all kicked off, is when Joshua did that interview and he said, for 50 million, I'd look at the fight. I'd fight Deontay Wilder. Then Deontay Wilder said, all right, here's the 50 million. That's where the problem started. That's where the problem started. And then Joshua admitted himself on Pep Talk TV. If you haven't seen the interview, please check it out. He said I'm in training now because Deontay Wilder is my next fight. I don't personally believe that Joshua doesn't want to fight Wilder. I don't believe that. What I do believe, though, is that the promoter and his team doesn't want it to happen. Because there's a few times that Joshua has made statements. He said one thing, and then the promoter said something else. Joshua said, this is what me and my team are doing. Whatever Eddie says is not what me and my team are doing. See, Joshua said that a few times before. So is it what's coming out the mouth and we don't want the fight coming from the promoter? Is it coming from the fighter? Or is it coming from the team? Who's it all coming from?
Well, it's coming from all of them. Coming from every last one of them. None of them want this fight, man. Like you said, it started with, you said it started. Another thing that I have a problem with, I'm going to come back to what we're talking about, but I want to go back on something you said, okay?
Yes.
You said it started with this 50 million, okay? That's where it all started. But one thing that I noticed is that these websites, they always fail to mention this 50 million offer. It's not being discussed on ESPN over here on any of the large platforms. These writers and these little rinky-dink, because I've been looking at a lot of these UK articles and they make things up. They never mention the $50 million and they seem to have some kind of agenda against Wilder. And in my opinion, all of these guys work for Eddie Hearn or they have some kind of ulterior motive. It's so ridiculous, man. None of these guys wanted to fight. Let me go back to what you're saying. None of these guys wanted to fight. Eddie Hearn, he didn't want to fight. I think he had plans to fight Povetkin anyways. That was his plan from the get-go. I don't think that Anthony Joshua wanted to fight because there was an interview some while back where he said that where he compared the time that Wilder's been in the ring. He said, well, he's been a fighter longer than me, and I'm going to wait until it's right for me. Something along those lines. I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, the 2019. He said, the fight should be in 2019. He did say that. That was after was it after the Klitschko fight? He said that?
Yeah, it was after the Klitschko fight. Yeah. It was after because we were critical because he had the belts. You remember? We were like, you can't be a champion and hold out. Once you win them belts, you can't say that I still need to develop. So, you know, he basically said that he wasn't ready for Wilder right then. But see, the problem is that Eddie Hearn, he wanted to use Wilder's name, and then you have these delusional people who say that Wilder's trying to use AJ's name. Wilder just wants them belts, man. He just wants to get AJ in the ring. That's pretty much it. But AJ and Hearn used Wilder's name to gain popularity, is what ended up happening. That's why Wilder is always in Eddie Hearn's mouth. He can't stop talking about Wilder. They wanted to put all these barriers in front of a fight happening with Wilder because they never had any intentions on fighting him. That 12.9 or whatever million pounds was a joke of an offer, okay? And then after that, I heard it was only like a few $1 million more. And so they never intended on getting him in the ring anyway. So they made it as ridiculous as they can. He hired a bunch of people to put out a bunch of propaganda, a bunch of dart chuckers from over there at Matchbox Sports to put out a bunch of fake propaganda and start talking about things that are irrelevant subject matter, like Anthony Joshua was champ in his 19th fight, when they know that when Deontay Wilder was at that same stage, we were under the Klitschko Iron Fist era. Both of those Klitschko brothers had a belt. The other Klitschko, the older Klitschko, decided to hang around. I did a video on it. He hung around for a year and a half, deciding what they're going to do and if he's going to retire, if he's going to fight. He was supposed to fight Romain Stavern, and he ended up retiring.
3 times he pulled out a Stavern fight. 3 times.
3. There you go. I didn't even know it was that damn much. 3 times. So the whole time he sat around there. So if you're going to say that AJ won it in 19 fights, then you have to mention what was in front of Wilder at that time, right? Don't you have to mention the cards that was stacked against Wilder? If you're going to make that comparison, you have to mention everything. You can't just say, well, because if AJ was coming up when Wilder was coming up, which is about 4 years earlier or whatever, he would have had to face the same dilemma, which was the Iron Fist Klitschko era, which at that time, both of those Klitschko brothers were tied up in other fights. They had mandatories and things. Stavern had already become the mandatory. He decided to pull out of the Stavern fight multiple times. And at that time, Stavern might have had a chance because I never really rated the Klitschkos. They were just around during the weak era. They were good fighters, but they were, you know, to me, they couldn't have beat the guys from out of the 90s. If any of those guys were in their prime, I mean, old-ass Lennox Lewis, you know, took a short notice and fucked up Vitali's eye. And if he trained for the rematch, he would have beat his ass again.
Lennox didn't train for the fight against Vitaly Klitschko. I can tell you that. He came to fight Kurt Johnson. Kurt Johnson wasn't something happened to Kurt Johnson. Lennox said, "You know what? Give me that Klitschko." That's what he said. "Give me that Klitschko. I'm here anyway. Give me that Klitschko." And that's how that fight was made.
And that's the definition of a true champion, to take a fight like that. And at that time, too, Lennox Lewis was like 36 or 37, right?
8, possibly.
I think he was 38. He was 38. Now that you say it, I remember it was 38. He was 38 years old, no notice, still went in there and beat Klitschko. I couldn't even imagine what he would have did to him in his prime. If he could do that at 38 years old, he's lucky he didn't face 26, 27-year-old Lennox Lewis. That would have been a wash. He would have wiped the floor with Vitaly Klitschko. But they were lucky enough and fortunate enough to come up during that era. But when Wilder came into the game, we were still in the middle of the Klitschko era, okay? So we weren't in the middle. We were kind of getting more towards the end. For Vladimir, we were kind of, you know, in the middle still because he went on to be champ for, you know, years after that. But like you said, you know, Vitaly pulled out 3 times. He couldn't decide what he wanted to do. It's not Wilder's fault that he didn't get a belt by the time he was 19-0. It wasn't available for him. Just like the opportunity to earn Tyson Fury's threw-away belts, that wasn't available for him either, okay? For whatever reason, AJ got the fight with Charles Martin. I guess Charles Martin was getting more money from them, so he did what he's supposed to do. He took the money, and he went over there and he fought AJ. But he didn't fight Wilder. Wilder didn't fight Charles Martin. And we know how Charles Martin got that belt because Glaskov laid down and said he was injured. So there's no justice in the way he won his first title. And then the second title was placed on the line because the WBA decided to just, well, you know, the major belts, because I don't consider the IBO. Let me let you all know that right now. I keep hearing about the IBO. The IBO ain't shit, okay? But they placed the other belt on the line because they decided that Klitschko, coming off of a 2-year layoff in a loss, was a big, because of his name, they put that belt on the line. So he just had another opportunity that Wilder did not receive. That's all it is, okay? They don't never talk about this shit in detail because most of them are dart chuckers and don't even take the time out to learn what happened anyways, because they was too worried about 180, you know, and all kind of stuff like that. But, you know, man, you know, on the real, man, you know, he just didn't get the opportunities. And now that AJ did get those belts, he's not behaving like a champion. Why do you think that Tyson Fury is making fun of him? Why do you think that Lennox Lewis is making fun of him? They know that this guy's not behaving like a champion. Anybody who thinks otherwise is not a real fight fan, or you got some kind of agenda against Wilder or something like that. This shit is really ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Anybody could see that AJ is a coward. That whole thing where he came on with that that guy Chat TV, or you know, he had to did an interview. The interview he did with the guy, okay, in the car. All right.
Pet Talk TV.
Pet Talk TV, okay. All of that stuff there too. I don't trust that. I don't know. It seems like AJ will say things sometime and then Herm will say something different sometime. But I do believe that they're trying to put confusion out there, man. They never intended on, who knows if Eddie Hearn called AJ up and told him to say some of that shit. And then, you know, I mean, this is ridiculous, man. The point of the matter is they never had planned on fighting Wilder. They never had intended on fighting him from the get-go. Okay? Eddie Hearn came out with the zone shit, you know, and that's another. That was one of the most stupid things he could have ever did. Because now, if you place Anthony Joshua on a fucking app, now we're really not going to know who he is, because nobody in America is going to buy this DAZN app. Nobody. It doesn't matter. White, black, red, green, purple, redneck. It does not matter. They're not going to buy this app. We don't buy apps here in America. Nobody even wants ESPN's app. If I have it on my cable, on my regular subscription, that's good enough. I'm not going to go out and get no app because of Anthony Joshua, who nobody know here. So now you've even buried Anthony Joshua's chances of getting popular even further. You buried that shit even further here in America. Deontay Wilder will go on to be a household name, and he will be a pay-per-view star when he starts getting close to that 51-0. When he gets around 46-0, and the media really pick up on it, they have no choice but to pick up on it, because they don't recognize no records, like they don't recognize the Tommy Burns record that's coming up. They don't never mention that. They're too busy talking about purse splits. But in 1981, when Larry Holmes was coming close to that Tommy Burns record with the Trevor Berbick fight, they mentioned that. But the media of today don't mention stuff like that because they don't know, because they're too busy worried about purse splits and making up stories about Anthony Joshua getting $20 million a fight when they don't really know how much the man is pulling in. Okay, I can say what I want to say he's making. If I decide that I want to say that he's making $4 million a fight, then I'll say, hey, okay, he's making $4 million a fight, because these guys don't have no credibility anymore. Okay, they don't do no research on boxing whatsoever. It shows in their articles. They don't know what they're talking about. Most of these uploaders, you start mentioning anything from the past, they want to talk about so-and-so being the greatest fighter. Lomachenko's the best ever, but yet they can't name 3 other champs from any other era, okay? These guys don't know what they're talking about. It's a bunch of propaganda and bullshit, man. And that's what it really is. This whole thing is a joke. It shows us where boxing is at today. This whole thing, that this circus was even allowed to take place, okay? At this point, Wilder needs to move on and stop playing their little game, go out and build his own legacy. He could become a pay-per-view guy without Anthony Joshua. Those belts don't mean anything, because you had this guy fighting for these 4 belts, okay? If you want to consider the IBO, you had this guy fight only 386 400,000 watched. Over 400,000 watched Clarissa Shields. Okay, Clarissa Shields, a female fighter, got more views than a guy who supposedly has 4 belts. So how much does those 4 belts mean? Okay, now you're gonna stick him under the Zone app and expect him to become big with the Zone app. It's some of the most ridiculous shit. And for this guy to let these guys pimp him like that makes me question if he's got it all. I don't really know if this Anthony Joshua guy has got it all. And you don't have to speak with a British accent to be smart, because Anthony Joshua, he speaks with a British accent. He's dumb. He can't even fucking complete a sentence. He can't speak about nothing because he's incapable of it. That's why they're keeping him silent, because they will blow the whistle on him and we will get to see that, I think he's mildly autistic. There's something wrong. Evaluation needs to be done. And I think that he's exploiting this guy. He's taking, advantage of the mentally weak. And then you got people over there who want to say that Deontay Wilder is, a hillbilly and this and that. And their boy can't even complete a sentence and speak for himself over there in England. Shut the fuck up, man, and stop talking about America. At least, Baylor, you told us you come over here. These guys here, man, they never left England and always want to speak about what's going on over here in America. And to that clown, and I ain't saying no names, but you AJ's dusty ass uncle. I seen you on video before, man. That's like how AJ I look. You look like you from his family. You his dusty ass uncle. You ain't never been over here to America. Don't be coming over here running your fucking mouth about things over here. You never been over here, you dumbass. Shut the fuck up. That's all I gotta say right now.
Well,
oh man,
much. That was certainly very entertaining. Okay. But to be fair, listen, a lot of people are. There are 2 sets of groups here. There's a group of fans, boxing hardcore fans. Okay, now be honest, Eddie Hearn or much of boxing promoters today don't care about hardcore fans because they can see through the bullshit. They've been around long enough. Then you've got the casual fans, the casuals. They're the ones that just turn up because Anthony Joshua's fighting, and they don't understand the sport of boxing, and so therefore, someone like Eddie Hearn that comes along and says certain things, they believe it. They read boxing magazines that regurgitate the same garbage. And so then what happens is you've got a bunch of people that come in, and because the promoter says it, and because the TV station says it, it's got to be true. And so what happens is you have a clash between the people that actually studied the sport and done the research versus the people who, fortunately, should be educated in the right way, not being educated. And so therefore, that's where you get the clash. And all along, the promoter and the promoter's family has said, boxing fans are mugs. Promoters, I think Barry Hearn said it in one interview, boxing fans are mugs. I mean, it is what it is. And so this is where I think a lot of the frustration is. And of course, people don't like to be called out on their BS. People don't like being exposed. But that's unfortunately the society we're in today. Question I've got to ask you, Blood, is when Hearn was in America, I know he was walking around New York, I think it was New York, and he will say, how many of you know who Deontay Wilder is? Did he ask, by the way, how many people knew Anthony Joshua by any chance?
No, he did not, because that was not his intention. His intention was to down Deontay Wilder. That would have been balanced,
because I know that he was, I believe Joshua recently was in America, and it was a basketball game, and the commentator called him Anthony Johnson.
That's right.
Brother Engel, I listened to what you said the other day, man. And when you said that, for a fact that these promoters, they manipulate the press, and you done seen them buy the press and do all that. You didn't mention no names. I mean, come on, man. It's only a dumb group of fans that only believe that's been manipulated. I paid attention to what you said, man. I get what you was getting at when you were saying that. But you didn't mention no names.
See, the thing is, we don't need a promoter anymore. That's the problem. And Eddie Hearn is threatened because these fighters don't need promoters, okay? Guys like Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum, all of these guys are a dying breed, okay? Eddie Hearn, he came over here to America being arrogant, talking about he's going to take over American boxing. He came over here talking about transatlantic deals and all kind of stuff and rubbing people wrong. But he can't have the love-hate relationship with us that he has with England, because you're playing with our heritage when you start talking like that, okay? And one thing that you got to understand here in America is that the majority of the people who are buying these fights are Black and Hispanic, okay? You can't rub us wrong, come over here with a slave master's mentality. That's why I knew people was going to pick up on that right away. You know what I'm saying? You can't come over here with that mentality and expect to be successful. Now everybody's against him. Everybody's going to go out of their way to make sure that others do not support him. I don't care. Like I said, if I see some rednecks with a rebel flag saying something about they're going to buy the Zone app, I will walk up to them and say, nah, you don't want to do that. You know, that guy calls everybody Yanks, you know. Y'all from the South, he call y'all a bunch of dumb Yanks. You know, I'll do whatever I can to put salt in it. I'm going to go out of my way to make sure that this guy does not succeed. And I encourage everybody else to do the same and support our fighters, not having some slave driver and some overseer such as Oscar De La Hoya, Bob Arum. We're not even worried about him because he's almost a century old. Okay, this man is almost 100 years old. He won't be around much longer. And then, you know, you got this other promoter out there, you know, he's sticking utensils in his ass. And then, you know, you got this other one coming over here with a slave driver's mentality, talking about buying apps and, you know, all kind of shit that's not even in our vocabulary. So the problem with him is he needs to face the reality that don't nobody need his ass. And that's why don't nobody signed up for his stupid the Zone app, and that's why he'll get outdid by the World Boxing Super Series, because they're coming to the Zone, and if anybody comes to that app, it's because of that. But nobody over here in America is going to do it anyway. So I'm here to tell you, it's a waste of fucking time. They're putting Anthony Joshua in a bad place. Anthony Joshua, how he could make an example over here is to be a man and to stand up for himself and to walk away and to say, hey, I'm worth more than this. Even if he didn't like that deal and he wanted more out of Deontay Wilder, he should have cut Eddie Hearn out the deal. He was a free agent. I think he might still be a free agent if I'm not mistaken, but he needs to go elsewhere. That would be a great start for him, is to leave Eddie Hearn. He don't need him anymore. Okay, he don't need him. He's already got a big name. He doesn't need to continue to let this man tell him what to do. And then you got dumb uploaders talking about Deontay Wilder's easily manipulated. Some dummy said yesterday. Some dumbass who supports Anthony Joshua said that Deontay Wilder's easily manipulated, when you got Anthony Joshua over there letting Eddie Hearn tell him not to take $50 million and letting Eddie Hearn speak for him all the time. You don't hear Shelly Finkel speaking for Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder comes and speaks for himself. One day he's easily manipulated. The next day he talks too much on social media and he has no class. There's no class and he talks too much. And you know, what is it, man? What is it? You guys are all over the place. Just admit it that your guy's a coward, okay? Not only that, he needs a mental health evaluation, because I don't understand how he could turn down $50 million. And on top of that, plus half of the split, okay? That's not all the money. That's just the guarantee. Okay, then they want to go and say that, he makes $20 million a fight, which is bullshit too, because I don't believe that. Like I said, I'm going to stick with he makes $5 million a fight. You know, until somebody can show me a breakdown, he makes $5 million in my mind, man. He made a lot for the Klitschko fight. That's it. That was it. Other than that, he makes $5 million a fight. I'm leaving it at that.
Oh, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. If anytime you turn down $50 million, if it's something in the contract that he signed with Eddie Hearn saying that if he don't do everything according to Eddie Hearn's plans, that he can get sued or something like that, you have to be wearing a helmet and you got to be riding on the short bus. There's no way in the world you passing up an opportunity like that. and you getting legacy all in the same breath, and you got the opportunity to make that more if you fight again. That don't make sense to me. Just don't make sense to me, man. It either got to be something in that contract that's unrevealed, or like you said, man, Blood, he wore a helmet. That's just what it is.
Yeah, and who's more easily manipulated? I want to ask you that too, Bayloric. Who's more easily manipulated? If you have to go off of what you see, who is more easily manipulated? Wilder? Who's more outspoken? Wilder or AJ? Who's manipulated more easily?
We just have to look at a few things. First and foremost, people are going to say I'm Deontay Wilder dick riding, but let me clear something up categorically before we begin. Deontay Wilder and I had a conversation a while back. This is just before he fought Audley. Before he fought Audley Harrison, I said, "Sorry, bro, I'm not one of these guys that are going to jump on a bandwagon with you. You fought a guy called Dusty Harrison and got dropped. And Dusty Harrison, you got dropped by, or something like that happened. I think it's Dusty Harrison, and he got dropped by another guy as well in his career, early in his career. And I said to him, at that particular time, I'm afraid to say, bro, you're gonna have to fight somebody significant or somebody decent in the top 10 before I can really take you seriously." And he was like, he got really emotional about it, upset about it. Then we did an interview together about the night before the Audley Harrison fight. Okay. He then went on and beat Stavern to become champion. So I said, all right, there's your props. You know what? You went on, you beat a guy who was the champion at the time, and you beat him. And you beat him well. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. You won the title. Fair play. So then I sent an apology directly to Deontay. I said, look, you know what? I'm sorry about you, man. I apologize for that. What I said at the time, what I said was true, but you just gone and beat WBC champion at the time, and I put that to him. So before people say that I'm a dick rider, as some may say, I just want to clear that up. That I might not be in Deontay Wilder's Christmas books or cards, but at the end of the day, I told him how I felt. I didn't run behind a keyboard. I actually spoke to him and told him how I felt via telephone call, and I've apologized since. Now, coming back to your question, the cultures are very different between England and America. Two totally different cultures. And that's something a lot of our listeners, some of our listeners don't understand. So when you're talking the way you're talking, Blood, at times, I think in the UK, that is sometimes perceived as being, and this is only a perception, this is not the truth. Oh, he's being aggressive. Oh, he's a racist. He's a this. He's not. It's just the way, the environment, and the way you educate in America as opposed to in the UK. Things such as the civil rights movement. And these things have to be mentioned. The civil rights movement, Martin Luther King, the NAACP, so many different things to talk about that make up someone in America as opposed to in the UK. Those are things that affect how we brought up, how we perceive and see things, and how we speak. So it's not, when you're speaking, it's not of bad-mindedness, it's just how you see things. And so one of the reasons why both you guys are on this channel, I'm trying to explain to our listeners here, that the reason why you're on the channel is to hear a different perspective, a different narrative, not the same old drivel you hear every week. That's why people like yourselves are on this channel, so they can hear what's going on and why you feel that way. Now, to answer your question about whether Deontay Wilder is being manipulated, I don't think so. For a man like him to come out and make some of the comments he's made, that's not the sort of guy that can be PR trained. If Deontay Wilder was PR trained, I can assure you he'd probably get far more sponsorship. He'd probably get promoted in a different way. And he'd probably be a golden boy in America. That's not the case. That is not the case. I don't think he is manipulated. And the other thing I want to bring to a point as well, when he fought Luis Ortiz at the time, and I want to take people back a bit, when Ortiz was around, Wilder must fight Ortiz. Ortiz is the best fighter in the world. And Tyson Fury himself admitted he didn't want to have any part of Luis Ortiz. Because when Ortiz was still unbeaten and he was still champion, Tyson didn't want any part of it. That's an interview I did with Tyson face-to-face. Number of reasons. Said Ortiz was a difficult fighter, very skilled, one of the best skilled heavyweights in the division, didn't bring any money to the table. And I think he said something else as well. And he said Cubans don't support Cubans. So there was no money in it. So Tyson was not interested in Ortiz. Ortiz was offered to Joshua. Joshua didn't take the fight. Ortiz was offered to Wilder. Everyone pushed Wilder into the corner. Pushed Wilder into the corner. You must fight Ortiz. So he fights Ortiz. He beats Ortiz. People start bringing things up about his age. But they never go back and say, Well, you know, when Joshua beat Klitschko, you know that was a guy that already got beat by Tyson Fury, and that Klitschko fought nobody for 2 years. How can that Klitschko be possibly better, sit on his ass for 2 years, to the Klitschko that fought Tyson Fury, who was consistently fighting and beating everybody at the time? I don't understand that. I didn't get that. So there has always been some disparity or some biasness towards AJ, for AJ, and I think against Wilder. So a lot of media has gone against Wilder because of the way he speaks and the way he is. The guy's from Alabama, so that's where he is, and he's very proud of his roots, and he's not ashamed. So in terms of being manipulated, I don't think Wilder's been manipulating this whatsoever. I truly believe he wanted to fight Joshua. I truly believe he's the kind of guy that said, you know what, I want this fight, and I want to take this fight, and I want to win this fight. Whether he wins or loses, to me, I see a true fighter there. What I see in Joshua, even if he is a true fighter, that's hidden because of a lot of PR stuff. Joshua's very well media trained, what to say, how to say it. But don't get me mistaken what I'm saying here. Joshua, if you catch him outside of things, you'll see him speaking the way he wants to speak. And I have no doubts in my mind, he does want the fight. I think he does want to fight Wilder, but I don't think it is expressed in the manner that he wants to express it because of the media training. So in terms of being manipulated, if anyone can be manipulated between the two of them, it's Anthony Joshua because of the media training and the people he's got around him. There's your answer, Blood.
Thank you. And let me tell you guys in the comments too. I'm reading some of these comments here. You got Abraham's S or whatever. You say it's both fighters. No, it's not both fighters. Okay, it's Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua. Okay, if the two fighters want to fight, they will fight. Okay, they're the ones who started with all the bullshit games. Okay, JD, you say AJ manages himself and he has 3 companies and all of this stuff. Hey man, send us the links, man. Send us the links. I want to see, because you guys always come up with all kind of bullshit claims and stuff that I can never find anything on. Like you'll come in and just like you made up the thing about the $20 million. Send me the 3 companies that he owns. Send me the links. Let me see who they are. Let me see if AJ's making the decisions. I mean, I could determine once you give me something. Don't just make up stuff. All these blank statements that you're sending out, you're going over the top. Okay, and you guys out there worried about the money too. Shut the fuck up, because most of you guys, you guys are probably not even working. You're living at your mama's house, okay? Now shut the fuck up. Don't worry about what these guys are making. Like I said, before Pacquiao Mayweather, we never discussed money before. So let's get back to boxing, okay? Pacquiao Mayweather is over. I know a lot of writers ate off of it. I know a lot of uploaders gained plenty of subscribers off the beef. But let's get back to the boxing now, okay? It's over. You're not getting neither one of them. You want to say, well, Deontay Wilder turned down his biggest offer, or AJ. They're both rich. So why does it matter anyways? They're both rich. Let's just get back to the best fighting the best. Let them iron out that shit. They need to keep that shit behind the scenes. They said that it was unprofessional to bring it to the forefront. AJ started out saying this, and so did Eddie Hearn. And then all these negotiations was placed on Front Street so all of us could see, just how much of a circus this whole thing is, okay? Go back to keeping that shit behind the scenes and just bring us the fucking fight, okay? Iron it out, all right? We don't want to hear all the particulars over the because I'm getting tired of all these people, these fight fans who are broke, who can't even earn their own income, talking about who should get what, and this person should get that much money. And Deontay Wilder, he only got $2 million. Motherfucker, you will never see $2 million in your whole fucking life. In your whole life, you will never see $2 million. Deontay Wilder, he flies first class. I'm sure when he goes out to the resorts and stuff, it's the finest. They got silk, linens, all that shit. I'm sure Deontay Wilder's sleeping on silk. Some of the finest shit. And I'm sure he got a mattress, one of them $10,000 mattresses in his house. Shit that we can't afford. So don't worry about it. Okay? Demand for AJ to fight Wilder like we demand for Wilder to fight AJ. And all, if Wilder starts fucking up, I'll be the first to call him out. Point blank. I'm telling you now. Leave it at that for right now.
Trap House Boxing.
Yeah, I don't understand why any of that even matter, man. You know, it's I mean they the only two champions. I don't get it. It don't even matter. I don't understand why does it matter for you? What are you gaining by protecting the guy by saying you don't want to see him fight this other guy? Or you making up all these excuses why they shouldn't fight? I mean, you a fan. That's more money you got to pay, dummy. I don't get it. And then you catering to Eddie Hearn. So what you trying to make Eddie Hearn rich, or you rather see your favorite fighter be rich? So you're supposed to be a boxing fan, not a boxing promoter, Eddie Hearn fan, right? Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely.
I mean, I don't get the logic here, man. I mean, who cares about Eddie Hearn? Nobody. I would love for him not to even be doing so many interviews. See, look, he's fighting so hard to say everybody needs a promoter so he can talk for all his fighters and see and give them all these little bum ass fights. Because see, all Eddie Hearn is, he's not a good promoter. All he is a taskmaster. He can get these guys stay busy fight, but he's never gonna make the big fight that he's supposed to make because he don't want to. He afraid of losing out. He done lost out with Kell Brook. So you don't want to make that mistake again. That's all he's doing, man. That's all Eddie Hearn is doing. He's a taskmaster. That's why Jarrell Baby Miller want to choke him so bad because he's been promising him the AJ fight for long, and he ain't gonna give it to him. He knows that. Eddie Hearn put on this one big old act. I don't know if anybody remember, but he put a big old act on Radio Raheem's channel. He did an interview, and Jarrell Miller walked up on him, and he. So I tell you what, I don't know if any of y'all seen that, but Jarrell Miller was like, man, what's up, man? You bullshitting, you know, blase squaze. So he was like, I tell you what, Jarrell Miller, if you stand on the top of that turnbuckle and you holler at me after you knock out whoever it was he just fought, and you say, I want AJ, he said, I'll tell you what, Jarrell Miller, I'll give you AJ. Man, you knew Eddie Hearn was lying, man. I knew the way Jarrell Miller walked up on him, he was getting all nervous and stuff. It was just all an act. It's all an act. This dude is a character, man. That's all Eddie Hearn is a character. He's the Richie Rich, the modern day Richie Rich. That's what he want to be.
You know what? And real deal, I saw your comment, dog, in the comment section. You say that why am I worrying about what Wilder is sleeping on? I didn't say I was worrying about what he's sleeping on. Listen here, man. Wilder is sleeping on fine linens. That's all I said. The man's got more money than you, okay? You're the one who's on here always talking about how much money these fighters are getting. Let's get back to boxing. Why are you worried about what the next man is making, huh? Why it shouldn't be a concern of yours. Your concern should be why this fight is not happening. And you should be asking your fighter, your favorite fighter, which is AJ, to fight Wilder and do whatever he needs to do to iron it out. You don't need to be measuring his money. You don't even have money for yourself, so shut the fuck up, dumbass.
Anyway, right, there are a few things I need to mention. Anthony Joshua is managing 2 fighters under AJ Boxing. I think he's got Lawrence Okoli and Joshua Buatsi at the moment, from what I believe. He's managing 2 fighters. Blood.
Yeah, but you know that they're under Eddie Hearn's management. That's just the fake. That's just made up. I've never heard him speak on these fighters. Somebody send me some links to where Anthony Joshua actually is completing 2 sentences at a time, and I want to hear it going for 5 minutes at least. Okay, this guy never says nothing. He can't even speak for his own career. How the hell is he going to speak for some other fighters when he can't even speak for himself? You know, that's just that's made up, man. I mean, they're reporting that, but I don't agree with that. I need to see where he's speaking up. I'll look into it. I will look into it. Okay.
I ain't gonna lie though. I did see him speak up on those guys on Okoli. You know, that's the guy. See, what a lot of people don't know, Okoli dropped him in sparring, I guess, apparently a time or 2. You know, that's why AJ got so much love and respect for him. You notice everybody that who dropped him. He hugged their nuts. He give a lot of props and praise to. You notice that? You know, he big up him all the time. Yeah,
I heard he got knocked cold from Du Bois. I heard Du Bois knocked his ass cold. His mom had to come and slap his face to wake him up. They had to call his mom to come from her apartment that they live in together so she could come over there, slap his face, and wake him up.
I've got
But
Uncle
I'm gonna tell you though, man,
as well. You guys gonna have to hold it for a second because I've got Uncle Bashir that wants to jump in the room as well.
Okay.
So if you guys keep talking, one question I want to ask in terms of fan base, who do you think's got the bigger fan base between Joshua and Wilder in terms of traveling basis? Wilder coming to the UK and Joshua traveling to the US. That's a topic you two guys can discuss for a second while I deal with this.
Well, the UK, one thing I have to say is that the UK does have a more loyal fan base that's connected to the sport. How many Americans are willing to go over and travel with Wilder? I'm not sure about that. That's a good question. I do know that Wilder had nearly 1 million more people viewing him for his fight. Whether you want to say that AJ was, whether you want to say that he came on in the afternoon or whatever, that's all speculation. Like I said before, Wilder had 1.2 million. AJ had over 300,000. That's almost 1 million difference in viewership. So, but how many of those are willing to travel over? I don't know. What you think, Trap House?
so talking about traveling over to
I'll go over them. I know for a fact I'm traveling if it happens, but I don't know how many people will be willing.
That's kind of hard to say, man. It's kind of hard to say, and that's like when you get to talking about the fan base and all that. I mean, because then you got to factor in this too. Okay, yeah, Anthony Joshua on paper, by stadium, record that he got some more fans, but what if the pay-per-view buys and the ticket sales was the American prices? Would he have that same fan base? Would he still pack out those same stadiums? I mean, arenas or whatever they fight in? You know what I mean? So you got to factor that in as well. You understand what I'm saying?
Hey, real deal. By the way, too, real deal in the comment section. No, you're on your fucking period. You're the one on here coming in here defending AJ. We just want to see the best fight the best. So you're the one that's on your period. Go take that shit over to that bitch yesterday who was talking all that shit, calling Wilder a hillbilly and all of that. Go take it over to that whole page. Cause ain't none of that over there. We just want to see the best fight the best, punk. That's all it is. I speak for blood boxing.
And see, and that's the thing is a lot of people don't realize this is that AJ the one who started all this. Wilder wasn't even paying AJ no attention. AJ the one brought Wilder name in there. He said he was gonna let the young guy, blossom or bloom or whatever he said, but he mentioned his name. He said he wasn't even on his radar. He said he was gonna let the young man grow, but Anthony Joshua mentioned Wilder's name, and that did it, and that's the truth. Wilder was not even thinking about Anthony Joshua.
And I'm glad that he's decided to move on too. All this back and forth and show and tell, we're tired of playing that little game. We said from the get-go that Wilder was 50-50. He's had his belt. He won his belt from Romain Stavern, not from somebody who was given a shot and who won a belt off of someone who laid down and all of that stuff, and off of an old man that all of the top 5 fighters could have perhaps beat, which is Klitschko. Klitschko, like I said, he got wiped up in his prime. Okay, this guy look at the guys on his resume. This guy didn't fight nobody for 10 years. Okay, and then you guys want to talk about how Wilder fought nothing but bums. Wilder just did with those type of guys that Klitschko been fighting for 10 years what you're supposed to do, and he knocked the motherfuckers out. The same guy that would have been going the distance with Klitschko. These same guys that you all saying are bums that he knocked out are the same caliber of fighters that were going the distance with Klitschko. Okay? So shut the fuck up.
And the truth of the matter is that AJ ain't did no more than what Wilder did. They both of them did the same thing. They at the same level. So you justifying that just because AJ ain't ready or he only did this in 20 fights that Wilder got to wait? I don't get that. I don't get that at all. They both on the
guys. I've saw people. I've got Uncle Bashir in the room.
Okay.
Uncle Bashir, how are we doing? Great. I've got a few people in the room. Uncle Bashir.
To the guy that said that saying that Klitschko was on top of the division for 10 years. 10 years, and he did not avoid nobody. It seemed more like those guys, the top contenders, did not want to engage Klitschko. So Klitschko fought the guys right under.
His uncle Bashir's gone, obviously the assistant trainer to Vladimir Klitschko at the time. But I think he'll be back. So keep going, guys.
Okay. So what was he saying? He was saying that he disagreed with what I said about the caliber of fighters that Klitschko was fighting.
Hold on. Uncle, you there?
Yeah. Deontay Wilder is a good fighter. At first, I thought that Anthony Joshua was a cinch to beat Deontay Wilder, but I'm having second thoughts now because it seems to me that Anthony Joshua is dancing around fighting Deontay Wilder. I mean, it didn't take this long for Holyfield Bowl to be made. It didn't take this long for Ali Frazier to be made. And countless other fights that were primetime fights. These guys are in the prime of their careers, and Anthony Joshua said, well, you got to take this money under these circumstances, or it ain't going to be no fight. So they're cheating the fans out of a fight. Vladimir Klitschko was on top of the division for 10 years. So in 10 years, you're going to tell me that nobody wanted to step up and fight him? For 10 years, he was fighting mandatories. Whoever the commissions and alphabet organizations said fight, Vladimir Klitschko fought him. And irregardless of how he beat him, he still beat him. He still maintained the championship for 10 years. Tell me somebody else who's done that outside of Larry Holmes.
Vlad, are you there?
Okay. Oh, I'm here, but okay. So I mean, but I didn't disagree that he didn't. He was on top for 10 years. He was on top for 10 years, but it was a weak time in heavyweight boxing. I mean, the kind of guys that he beat, Lamont Brewster, Tony Thompson, Ray Austin, Eddie Chambers, okay, but
Hold on.
it wasn't as strong as the 1990s.
Larry Holmes is always that excuse, but the division was weak. Everybody has a weak division. Joe Louis, Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali. You can go on and on and on and on talking about the division was weak.
That's the way I see it. It was a weak era. That's the way I see it. It was a weak era. Point blank.
What about Larry Holmes?
Oh, Larry Holmes era. It was okay. It was okay. The heavyweights from the 1980s, better than what was going on with Vladimir Klitschko. That's for sure. I mean, I know you're not trying to say that Klitschko is the fighter that Larry Holmes was. Is that what you're trying to say?
You were saying how weak. Wait a minute, man. In Larry Holmes' era, I recall them saying that the division was weak. I'm from that era. I was right in the midst of that.
Okay.
Well, the division is not strong. When Muhammad Ali was fighting, they said, well, the division is not strong. When Joe Louis was fighting, they kept saying, well, the division is not strong. Well, when is the division strong? Mike Tyson's era, they kept saying the division wasn't strong. So it's always going to be the pros and cons for the people who says that the division is not strong or the division is too weak. It's always going to be that. The fact of the matter is, Vladimir Klitschko fought a dozen mandatories. WBA,
Okay.
WBO. He fought the mandatories. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. He fought, and he beat them. sometimes I don't think that the fans appreciate how good these guys are because they make it look easy. The fact of the matter is, boxing is not easy. Boxing is not easy. When you got to go in there with 10-ounce gloves on and get hit on the chin, that's not easy. Ldbc did it for 10 years. And then take on a young lion like Anthony Joshua. But Joshua is slacking off a little bit. I'm starting to lose favor with him, you know?
Blood?
Okay, well, you're taking the fact that I said that the era was weak to boxing is not easy. Now you're going into some other area I won't even cover. Okay, so don't attach that to me because I ain't say all that now. Okay, so I don't know how you mean that, but I ain't saying none of all that now.
Brother Bashir, I understand what you're saying though, man. I mean, I get it totally. I know boxing ain't easy, you know, from a little bit of experience, but at the end of the day, man, when you a fan, you don't want to hear nothing about, you know, why the best ain't fighting the best. So that's the bottom line. We pay to watch these guys fight. You know, at the end of the day, they signed up for this. You know, so we understand boxing is a business. But when the fans demand the best fighting the best, we feel like we deserve the best to fight the best. Agree or disagree?
The fact of the matter, we just want to see Anthony Joshua fight Deontay Wilder, and we think that Anthony Joshua is he's ducking out of the fight. That's basically it. That's the way we feel about the whole thing. Okay. Sometimes when I be talking, I get a little carried away from time to time with the Klitschko thing, and I understand what you're saying about Klitschko. And if you had listened to me before, you don't know who I am, but I've always given Klitschko respect for running the division for 10 years. Okay, so I give him respect, and he did fight who was there. He did. I have to give him. He can't help what era he was born in and what era he came up in. Just like Larry Holmes, just like Tyson. You're right about all of that. Just like Joe Louis, and all of those eras were criticized as they went on. People said that Ali fought in the weak era. They say Holmes fought in the weak era. You're correct on all of that. So, you know, I don't want you to think that I was disrespecting Klitschko. So I want to clear that up because I've always given Klitschko his respect.
I didn't feel that at all. I didn't take offense to that because that's opinionated. So I didn't take offense to that at all. I know just where you're coming from. I understand that. Believe me, I, of all people, understand where you're coming from and respect that because you're not a yes man. You're just voicing your feelings, your emotions about it, and I respect that. And I engage that. But these guys, Joshua and Wilder, they need to stop it. They need to stop it. The two of them need to stop it. This is a fight that needs to be made now. Because both of these guys are like Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put old Humpty back together again. These guys need to fight before one of them gets defeated. The fight won't be the same if one of them gets defeated. The hot ticket is when the guys come to the dance undefeated. It should not take this long to make a fight. I understand the business side. I understand that all too well about the business side. But come on. It doesn't take that long to make a big fight. Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield got together in 1 week, 7 days, the fight was made. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is not bigger than Bowe versus Holyfield. Believe me, it's not. On a mega scale, Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is not bigger than Evander Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe. That was a hot ticket. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is not bigger than Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier. No, sirree.
It's not bigger than Holyfield versus Tyson.
Yeah, I agree.
And mind you, this is post-prison Tyson.
Exactly.
So I think these guys, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, I think they passing around like some freaking prima donnas. You know, it's a big fight, but it's not bigger than those fights for the fans. No, sir. They need to go ahead and make the fight. They need to make the fight for the fans' sake.
Uncle Bashir, how dangerous is a fight with Joshua now against Povetkin? Some people think he'll blow him away. I don't subscribe to that at all.
I think it's a very risky fight. I think it's a very risky fight. Because Povetkin,
I think
and Povetkin is going to be there to fight. I saw how tough the mentality of Alexander Povetkin was when he fought Ldbc Klitschko. I saw him up close in person. And I'll tell you, I underestimated him. I underestimated his grit, his desire, his will. When Ldbc Klitschko was hitting him, it's a difference from people seeing him get hit on television. It's a big difference from seeing those punches and hearing those punches ringside as opposed to getting hit on television. Povetkin is a soldier. Povetkin is a live underdog, and if Anthony Joshua is not at his best, he's going to get knocked out. So he's got to be very, very careful in this fight. Because this fight is not a gimme.
There are a lot of people in boxing that think that Povetkin's past his best.
No, he can potentially knock Anthony Joshua out. I totally agree. I've been saying that. Especially if he can make it into past the 5th round and he giving AJ, if he already giving AJ problems early, man, look, Povetkin he can come up with AJ.
What do you think, Uncle?
I just think that Povetkin stands a good chance of winning that fight. He's a live underdog. I think that he stands a very good chance of winning the fight.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I think, to me personally, I don't think Anthony Joshua boxes good enough to be able to. I don't think he got a good enough outside boxing skills to be able to keep Povetkin at bay. And I think that Povetkin is too much of a risk for him to be banging in the pocket with. So I just think I think Povetkin is just a bad look for Anthony Joshua, man. He don't have that good boxing skills like everybody say he do. I don't see it. You know, that's just my opinion.
I'm in agreement. You know, with today's boxing and boxers, they always wait for something to go wrong before they can correct it. They don't go in and do troubleshooting to try to perfect the style or the status of the boxer. They don't go in and say, you know what, we need to tighten this up, or we need to do this, we need to do that. They get into a
Me personally, I question Povetkin's age, man. I mean, he's at, what is he, 39 now? I don't think he's at his best anymore. No fighter is at their best at 39. So, and not only that, this guy's been caught, what, 2 or 3 times now for cheating, for using performance enhancers. So, I mean, the fight to me, I just don't have a real good feeling about this whole fight. In my opinion, I don't even care who wins, to be honest, man. But Povetkin, if you're asking if he's at his best, I don't think so, not at his age. He's going to need that juice. I don't know what kind of testing they're going to have going on with that whole thing, but it's whatever, man. It ain't going to be Vada, I know that.
Yeah, I just think that AJ's, and I noticed something about his defense, man. It's like when you attack him, when you throw combinations at him, he'll back straight up in the line instead of getting out in angles and using his angles, getting out of the way. He'll back straight up in the line. He don't never ever move his head.
No, he don't have no head movement. He has no head movement
at all, man. And that can be very, very dangerous for him dealing with Povetkin, man, because he's not giving him no different angles to look at. You know what I mean? So Povetkin don't have to reset. The only time he gonna have to reset is when the refs step in and break him up when they start to engage. So I don't know, man, but the dude look like he on the verge of getting that chin clap. I'm telling you.
He's straight in and out with no head movement, just like how Big John Tate used to be. Straight in and out, no head movement. Yeah, he's at risk, man. All these guys got a chance. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Big John Tate would take Anthony Joshua to school.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree with that, though. But I'm just saying, one thing John Tate didn't have, though, he didn't have very good head movement, man. His head movement wasn't good, but I do agree he was more elusive than Anthony Joshua, for sure.
John Tate didn't have a lot of head movement, but he had mobility and a sterling jab to compensate for all the other flaws. John Tate had a sterling jab, and he had gracefulness and mobility. For a heavyweight, he was a beautiful boxer, and he would take today's heavyweights to school.
Oh, I agree with that, and he would get on his toes sometimes too. But the only thing I was saying, as far as the in and out, like the in and out with no good head movement. Now he's, Anthony Joshua, he get taken to school by John Tate, no doubt about that. I think a lot of the heavyweights from the past had a good chance in today's boxing.
Listen, not just Anthony Joshua and Wilder, all of today's heavyweights would get taken to school by John Tate. John Tate was a beautiful boxer. John Tate was the epitome of what a sound boxer is supposed to be at heavyweight.
You think he'd beat Wilder, John? You think Big John Tate would beat Wilder?
Yeah, I think he would beat him.
I don't know, man.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one.
I like Big John Tate, but
Burbick fight, man. John Tate didn't have no heart, man. In that Burbick fight, he gave out in that Burbick fight, man. He totally gave out in the and he should have been able to make it through that fight with Weaver too. And then on top of that, that John Tate, he was supposed to get Larry Holmes in '84, and they stopped the negotiation. You might know about that. Maybe you could school me on that, because I'm still trying to research what happened with that fight that him and Larry Holmes was supposed to have in '84. Because I read a little bit about that on the internet, and they pretty much protected John Tate throughout the rest of his career. Because he didn't really take no losses. He just came in overweight all the time.
You know what? John Tate and Penguin Thomas is 2 fights that Larry Holmes didn't want. You know why? Because no
So was it is it true that they was gonna fight and that John Tate was supposed to fight Holmes in '84, and that from what I heard that they couldn't make it through with the negotiations or something like that?
Did you see what Washington was able to do to Deontay Wilder with a simple jab?
I saw that, but I also saw the end result too.
Huh?
And I think with John Tate, I just think that, you know, after taking one of them windmills to the head, he'll be running like he did against Trevor Burbick.
But I'm gonna tell you something though, Uncle Bashir. And truth be told, you know this like I know this. Gerald Washington is a better outboxer than Anthony Joshua. He just don't have a chin.
Yeah, he doesn't have the mental capacity to hold it together when the storm comes. That's his fault. He can't hold it together. When the storm comes, he falls apart.
Hey, I want to know something. I want to know, who do you think is avoiding this fight more between Wilder and AJ? Why do you think this fight's not happening?
I don't think that AJ won. I think that AJ want to milk. I think AJ want to milk the circumstance for what it is. Mean that AJ is the one that's holding up the apple cart. But also on the other end, Wilder need to take the $20 million and say, okay, $20 million is a lot of money. So take the $20 million, knock him out, and just stay on the man. So both of those guys are even culprits in this hell hold up. $20 million is a lot of money.
I heard it was 15 million though. I heard, see, it's always different things being reported. Some people are saying it's 15, others say 20. Like, you know, what I'm tired of is all this money talk with the fans, like the fight fans. Like, I think that even myself included needs to stay out of all that money stuff. You know what I'm saying? We need to stay out of that. We need to iron it out, because back in the day, we didn't ever have to hear nothing. You know, I've been watching boxing, not as long as you, but since the early 80s, okay? And I don't remember hearing all this money split talk and stuff. You know, just let's get this fight ironed out. You know, one day they say it's 15, one day it's 20 million, you know. They all over the place, though. They all over the place with this.
I think looking back, Bob Arum offered Eddie Mustafa some astronomical money to box Marvin Johnson for the light heavyweight championship of the world.
Yes, sir.
And
WBA title. Yes, sir.
Balked at the money. Eddie Mustafa balked at the money. But it was some astronomical dollar, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. It was a lot of money for that time.
Right. That was 1980, right? 1980.
So Bob said, okay, you don't want that? Okay, I'll give you 50,000 for the fight. Eddie wanted to remain a free agent. Eddie took the 50,000 and won the title and remained a free agent. So the same thing I'm saying should be applied to Deontay Wilder. Who are you, man? Take the money, knock this guy out, and then you become the man. Muhammad Ali fought Joe Frazier for what? For peanuts. Because they were saying that I'm the best, let's fight. Now Wilder said, oh yes, economics. I really encourage boxing.
Very quickly, Uncle, I just want to ask you some questions about your guy that fought last night in the heavyweight division, Serenko. Very quickly, 1-round knockout win against Knife. What did you think?
Well, it didn't prove very much to me.
Okay.
I think that they was making Knife bigger than what he was. You know, and Vlad did what he was supposed to do. He got him out of there. You know, he got him out of there. Knife is unproven to me. They're
Okay.
bigger fish to fry at heavyweight.
So what's gonna happen? What's the plans now then? What's the next plan?
Well, we're looking for the best offers now. You know, we're looking for to sign with a promoter because I'm saying the best fights are done when the fighters are youthful. You know, I'm saying the best promoters are looking. I'm looking to step up to the plate with the best promoters and prove that we got a good quality fighter.
Are you looking to sign in with one of the bigger promoters or not?
Yeah. At this point, yeah. I don't want to overdo it about sitting around fighting meaningless fights.
Okay.
I want to go for it in 2019. You know, I had Serenko in with David Hayes guy. What's his name? What's David Hayes guy's name?
Which one?
About Joe Joyce?
Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce?
Yeah, I had Serenko in with him.
Remember you told me.
And it was a very competitive sparring session.
One that he doesn't talk about. The same time he was supposedly knocking the dreadlocks off of Stavern. Joyce. That was the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he don't talk about that one though, does he?
Yeah, I think that Vlad Serenko showed his worth by boxing Joe Joyce. And they boxed for, I think, 3 or 4 days in a row. Each day is 6 rounds. So both of those guys tested their will and their skills against each other. And I didn't see anything that would make me frightened to get in with the upper echelon of the heavyweight division.
So you take Joe Joyce then. So you take the Joe Joyce fight then.
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't.
No.
So who would you take then?
I think Serenko needs 5 to 7. I mean, I take guys out there. I take Washington.
Okay.
You know, I take Stavern.
Okay.
You know, those kind of guys I would take. Joe Joyce is a cut above those guys, you know.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be shy to take a Stavern. I wouldn't be shy to take Washington. I mean, I'd even take Ruiz. I'd box Ruiz with Vlad Serenko.
Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, I would shy away from that fight.
So, question. So your fighter is the guy who fought Jennings just the last fight?
No, he fought Mac something Knife. Can't be last. It was not Knife was his last name. Knocked him out in the first round.
But he ain't the same guy who just fought Jennings though, right?
No. Jennings fought guy from
Chicago?
Philadelphia.
Oh.
Yeah, oh God.
Dwayco.
I would take that fight too.
Dwayco. Yeah, yeah.
Dwayco.
So what's his fighter name again?
I would take that fight.
Vlad Tsarenko.
Oh, Dwayco.
Tsarenko.
I have to look him up. I'm have to look him up.
Okay.
I think I've seen him fight before. I don't know. Not sure.
I would take Joey Dwayco. You know, I would take Joey Dwayco. You know, those kind of guys. I would take them.
Okay. Very quickly, next question I'll ask you is, what are your thoughts on Brighton James is currently in the UK working with Derek Chisora. What do you think of that in preparation for Chisora's fight against Takam?
I think that he's in a tough fight with Takam. I think that he's in a tough fight with Takam. Brian James is a good fighter, but I don't know if that's the style that he's going to need for Takam.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Okay, and your Dillian White versus Josie Parker very quickly before you go, Uncle.
I like Dillian White.
Reasons?
I like Dillian White to upset Parker.
Okay, any particular reason?
I think this is going to be a mental fight. I think it's going to be a mental fight, and I think that mental capacity is going to overwhelm Parker, and Dillian's going to win the fight.
How?
I think a decision.
Okay, decision. Fair enough. And Wilder versus Brazil. I think that fight will happen.
I would like a wild card. You know, that's a dangerous fight for Wilder.
Why?
That's a dangerous fight. You know, you remember the Superman series?
Yes.
And the biggest problem for Superman was what?
Kryptonite.
That's right. So you got Kryptonite versus Kryptonite. You got two wild, crazy guys. Big, strong, wild, free-swinging guys.
Uh-oh.
And that equals Kryptonite for Wilder. He can get knocked out in a fight like that. He can get knocked out in a fight versus Brazil. Because Brazil is a free swinger. Brazil is a gambler. And Brazil can punch. And Brazil is not afraid of Wilder.
Yeah, Brazil walks. Brazil's got slow feet in here, and look what Joshua did to him. Wilder must hit harder than him.
Yeah, but it's something about. But he won't Wilder bad. It's something about Wilder he won't bad. It's mental. He got it in his mental already.
Brazil think he can beat Wilder. You know, it's a very dangerous fight because he believes in his mind, I can beat Wilder. He believes that. And both of them will be out there throwing punches like olive oil, Popeye's girl. You know? So I wouldn't bet a dime on this fight.
Oh dear. So potentially we're looking at Joshua potentially could get beat by Povetkin, and we've got Wilder who could get beat by Brazil. So the Joshua Wilder fight may never happen.
I'm telling you, the time now for the Joshua Wilder fight is now, because both of them are very fragile, and they can be beaten any day.
Well, picture this: Brazil winning and Povetkin winning. Imagine that for the heavyweight division. Povetkin becoming the unified champion and Brazil becoming WBC champion. Where does that put the state of the division? What's that, Uncle?
Right down at the bottom. Right down at the bottom. Because they can't sell a fight like that.
Well, every time the fight's delayed, something like this could happen.
Yeah, that's what I said. What I said at the beginning of our conversation. Both of these guys are Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall. The fight needs to get made now. Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier was able to resell the fight because of the good showing they made in their first fight. It didn't matter that Joe Frazier had beaten Ali. The people were hungry for the rematch. Evander Holyfield versus Riddick Bowe, it didn't matter that one had beaten the other because it was a spectacular showing on the behalf of both fighters. So, and that's the case here. But if Wilder goes out and gets beat by Brazil, AJ goes out and gets beaten by Povetkin, where does that leave the division?
Closer to getting
Everybody will be spread out.
closer to getting an undisputed champion.
But let me tell you something though. AJ don't believe that it'd be. He don't want it to be a second time affair. He already put that in the contract. If Wilder lose, he may think about giving him a rematch. But if Wilder wins, it's an automatic rematch clause. So he don't feel like he want to go through this again. Evidently, so he ain't looking at it like that. He hoping he can slide by and don't have to deal with it no more, or if he has to deal with it at all.
And you also, man, looking at history, Unc is right, man, about this fight happening sooner rather than later, because when you look back on heavyweight history, even the great ones have been knocked out. Lennox Lewis was knocked out one night. You know, it could happen to any of these guys, man. These guys could get knocked out, man, and then this super fight is off the table. If any of these two guys get knocked out, and it is possible that either of them could get knocked out, that is the truth. I mean, they're heavyweights. These guys punch hard, man. And
yeah, we know that. Yeah, that's exactly. You're right, Blood. We know that because to me, I agree. I think Brazil is a dangerous fight for Deontay Wilder.
He is. He's going into something. He's right about that. All these heavyweight fights are dangerous. Okay, there's no denying that. All of them. The Povetkin Joshua fight, that's dangerous too. Okay, all of these fights are very dangerous fights. So that's why we want them to make this thing happen, you know, because all it takes is for one of these guys to lose, and it's a high probability, man, in the heavyweight division. So these guys need to get it on sooner rather than later. I couldn't agree more with that, man. And Brazil is a dangerous fight for Wilder too. He's gonna go in there. We've seen Brazil, he could take some punishment. We've seen him in some of these fights. He's been in some wars. Okay, Wilder could run into something. We don't know. That's just the thing about it. I got Wilder, though. I got Wilder by knockout, round 3. But we'll see.
Yeah, man. Brazil will get you in the type of fight that you don't want to get into, man. Brazil want to fight. He want to get to a fight.
Hold on, Uncle. Go ahead, Uncle.
Do you remember Joe Frazier was knocked out by George Foreman down in Jamaica?
Yes, I remember the fight.
Joe Frazier came back to fight George Foreman in a second fight. All right, Sonny Liston came back to fight Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali came back to fight Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier came back to fight Jimmy Ellis. What's different about today than yesterday is that these guys were willing to put it their name in blood. Let's go. But Joshua and Wilder is just looking at money and they forget about the fans that's making them famous. They owe a debt to the fan base too. I understand business is business, but you gotta owe a debt to the fan base on this fight. If somebody say, okay, Wilder, take $20 million, take the $20 million and fight. You gotta take the $20 million and fight. AJ said, all right, this is a one-time deal. If I beat Wilder, no more. That's not good. That's not good for boxing. That's not good for boxing.
want to take this.
You gotta be a challenger. You gotta be a warrior. The people are expecting the heavyweight champion to be a warrior. That's why when I engage with the boxers, I'm working with them, I'm telling them, coming in the door, I'm not gonna hold your hand. And I'm not gonna build your record up to 30-0 for 5 years. They come to find out that you really can't fight. There will be some subtle tests in those years. So yeah, you got to take some chances at some point in your career. You got to take chances. You got to roll the dice. You can't hide in the weeds. You got to come out and fight. I don't like this nonsense that's going on with Joshua and Wilder. I don't like it.
Who wins the fight, Uncle, at this point?
Pardon me?
Who wins the fight at this point?
It's hard to say because I think mentally Joshua is winning, and I think technically Joshua is winning. Mentally, Joshua Wilder thinks he can win. Technically, I think that he would have difficulty beating Joshua. You know?
Okay.
But that mental capacity spills over into technique because Joshua believes in his style. Can you remember Ronaldo's nights?
Yes.
On any given night, Ronaldo's nights will knock somebody to the moon. All right? So you take a guy like Ronaldo's nights, Alan Pryor, you know, and you combine the two styles and put it into Deontay Wilder. Ronaldo's nights, Alan Pryor, you know, maybe there's another one out there that you can combine them in olive oil, and you put all of them together, and you got Deontay Wilder. Because if Deontay Wilder clips anybody, he can get out of there. So I don't like the fact that this fight is overdue. It is overdue, and either guy can lose. You know, the Povetkin fight is not a shoot-in for AJ to win. Povetkin could upset the apple cart. He's very capable of upsetting the apple cart.
Okay. Guys, did you want to add to that? Blood?
No, I mean, I pretty much agree. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's dangerous both ends, man. I think the fight need to happen now, and we need to find out, you know, who the undisputed champion really is. You know, because either one of these guys could get clipped at any moment. You know, they both punch hard, and they both got some vulnerability. And that's just the nature of the heavyweight division is, man. It's always gonna be like that, you know. So we need to find out now.
The only thing I probably disagree with a little bit is the thing about the 20 million. If me personally, you know, if the fight is worth way more than 20 million, then I'm not going to be sitting here saying that Wilder should take 20 million. Me personally, I really don't care. If Wilder feel like he should take 20 million, then that's on him. But the money thing to me is irrelevant. As long as both fighters feel as though they're being treated fairly. Now, I know that there's going to be fights that's going to occur where fighters are not going to feel as though they're being treated fairly, but that's between that fighter and himself, man. So, you know, if he ain't happy with that deal, I can understand why he ain't happy with it. I'm going to just leave it at that.
One of the things is people are talking about 20 million, 15 million, but the other thing is the contract. What's in the contract? Does the contract say if you beat Anthony Joshua, you become a matchroom fighter? Is that in a contract?
Say that there's a rematch clause. There's a lot of things that are in that contract. There's the rematch clause. There's all kind of stuff. So we don't really know what's all there because we're not there. And a lot of these fight fans, they talk like they're there behind these you know, at these behind these closed doors at the negotiation table, the way they talk and stuff. So the way that man feel about what he should get, that's between him and him and what whoever his family and all that. They don't got nothing to do with me. Okay, I just want to see the fight happen. If he feels like he's being treated unfairly, and they wanted to bring everything out here, that's what they did. They brought everything out there and made this into a circus act. So now people got opinions on it. And me personally, I just want to see the fight happen. They should have kept all that shit behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? If the fight didn't work out, we couldn't agree to terms, whatever the case may be. But it's not on me to say what that man, you know, what that man should take and what he shouldn't take, though. You know, he got to do what he got to do, I guess. But they need to make the shit happen sooner than later, because it's a risk there. It's a big risk factor.
Go on, Uncle.
In the meantime, you got this other young boy that's coming. In the meantime, while they're squabbling about who's going to do what, you got this other young boy coming, Dubois.
Dubois.
Yeah. You know, he's got to be factored into this thing. Because you got to consider him a threat. Because of his size. Because of his power. He's got to be considered a threat for tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, I mean 2019.
Wow. Where does Tyson Fury fit into all this? Where does Fury fit into this mix, Uncle? Or does he fit at all?
To me, Fury doesn't fit. I don't think Fury's going to get back.
Nor do I. I don't.
I don't think Fury's going to get back. Number one, he made this foolish move. Letting his finger go for some young, inexperienced kid, all right? I'm calling a spade a spade. This guy that he's got is inexperienced. Can I go to the big dance with a guy that's going out to gamble? This guy doesn't know nothing about boxing. Let's call it for what it is. The guy is an inexperienced man. He's unproven. And then you take him and replace him over Peter Fury. Not good. That's one nail in his coffin. All right? I don't think that he's going to do that. I think that this kid Dubois, I got my eye on him. And he's coming up that ladder fast. I don't know what he can take. But if he can take something, if he can take it, he's going to be a big threat to heavyweight division in 2019. This thing ain't no game, man. Joshua and Wilder is probably the biggest heavyweight fight out there right now. And they're squabbling about the monies. Both of those guys can make a lot of money. Maybe Wilder won't get as much money as he wants. But he'll get a whole lot more money than he can get with anybody else.
What about Fury versus Wilder?
I think it's an exciting sell. But can Fury get back? That's the question. Can Fury get back? That's the big question. That's the minus factor. You know, he's got to come back and fight 2 more fights this year, 2 convincing fights. Not this nonsense that he was just involved with.
It looks like Shannon Briggs might be next.
Yeah, the jury is out on that. Shannon Briggs is what, 47?
Maybe.
That's a hard sell to me.
You know, I found that Luis Ortiz is 48 years old. And Rigondeaux's 43.
Yeah, them guys are, you feel guys are old guys.
So Shannon Briggs is younger then.
They're old guys, you know. I mean, Briggs got to be 46, 47 years old.
That's who Fury might fight next.
That doesn't, well, it doesn't make it, it's not convincing to me. Shannon hasn't been active enough. Shannon Briggs has not
If what?
So I mean, so
If Wilder were to ignore the Brazil fight and take a Fury fight now, what happens?
I think if Wilder was to take a Fury fight now,
Yeah, probably easier to negotiate with as well.
I think Wilder wins that fight right now. I think if they fought right now, Wilder would win it.
Do you think the gap has closed, though, Uncle?
That's what
Do you think the gap has closed between when do you think the gap has closed between when Tyson won the championship, Fury won the championship from Klitschko to now, and Joshua and Wilder's development? Do you think the gap has closed?
Yeah. With all the time that I'm thinking that this guy Dubois is a major player in the mix. Because his confidence is growing with each fight. And he can punch. He can punch. So Dubois got to be factored in 2019. I just think a lot of posturing is not good for the sport.
Okay.
Fight. If you go back to the 60s and 70s, you had heavyweights that was crisscrossing the globe. Heavyweights. Not a lot of posturing. They were always in the mix. And now, very seldom. The fans got to sit around and watch people him and haw about who's going to fight who. Please, give me a break with that bull. It's nonsense.
Just before you leave us, Uncle, Usyk and Gassiev, the fight's been arranged now. I think it's in July 21st, I think.
It's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. Either way you look at it, it's a tough fight. I got Usyk to win a decision. Even though they'll be fighting in Russia, I got Usyk to win a decision.
I'm going Gassiev.
It will not be easy for Usyk to win.
Okay.
You know, I can understand your logic. You know, I can understand your logic. But Usyk is a strong fighter.
So it's Gassiev. He was sparring with Wilder, I understand.
And Klitschko.
He was sparring with Gassiev. Gassiev was sparring with Wilder, but they're saying that
he was sparring with Klitschko too.
Yeah, Trap House Boxing saying he sparred with Klitschko too. Gassiev.
It's a tough fight.
I got Gassiev winning that fight, man.
I got Gassiev winning. I've got Gassiev winning big in that fight as well.
Yeah.
I think he's going to clip Usyk in this fight, and Usyk's going to get the shock of his life how hard Gassiev actually hits.
Especially when he gets to dig into that body.
I think Usyk is going to issue a stern boxing lesson to Gassiev. I think Usyk takes a decision in that fight. In a tough contest, I think Usyk spanks Gassiev going down the home stretch.
We'll see.
We'll see, Uncle. We'll see. We'll see. Uncle, is there anything else you want to say before you go?
No, I'm out of here, man. Hey, guys, see y'all later, man.
Uncle, thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you.
Take care, Uncle. That was
Uncle man. Nice talking to you. I just want to say, Uncle man, nice talking to you, my brother. Hey, it was fun. I'd love to talk to you some more in them 80s heavyweights, man. Let me know.
He's just Uncle Disbed. He's just gone. So yeah,
Okay.
we've had a bit of a mismatched show here because we've had. How do we close this off, gentlemen? A lot of things we talked about there. We talked about the potential of really both of these guys, both of these heavyweights potentially losing their next fight. Povetkin beating Joshua, and Brazil beating Wilder. There's a possibility both of those guys could get beat. And if that happens, then where is the heavyweight era then for this generation?
Man, it would be sad to see, man, if any of those guys lose for this big potential fight. But you know, I'm more of a Wilder supporter. I'm not gonna lie about that. So if Anthony Joshua loses, I'm not gonna cry, man. I'm just gonna be real. As long as Wilder's legacy goes on, I stay interested. Once Wilder's legacy is over, let's go era, man. Hey, Errol Spence. Hey, what's been going on over there with Errol Spence? Yeah, man. You know, Crawford, what's up? You know, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding, but
Listen, real. That's what matters. You're keeping it real, and the whole idea of this show again tonight is to show that people can come on a show, have heated debates and conversation, but still be, you know, civilized. I think people believe, or there's a belief that if you don't agree and say the same thing, then you're either a troll or you're talking crap. People have different opinions, and that needs to be understood. And I think it should be universally recognized that, you know, what the promoter's job to do is to promote the fight. Even if he's talking shit and even if he's selling something that's proper propaganda, it doesn't matter. That's what the promoter's meant to do. But somehow, somewhere, someone believes that what the promoter says is absolute truth, and it's the gospel. I actually believe in the UK that Eddie Hearn is almost like a godlike figure to some of these fans. I'm telling you. And
yeah, me too.
I do really believe it, and he's hypnotized them. And you know what? Fair play to Eddie, because he's done a good job as a promoter in that sense. Believe what I say. Whatever I say is the truth, and you believe it. And they just go and they just follow what Eddie says.
He might have hypnotized them, but he's not going to hypnotize us over here because he's not going to be able to have that love-hate relationship with us. Number one, a lot of us, the way we look at him, you know, he comes across as negative. He's came over here. He's insulted a lot of people saying he's going to take over American boxing. So he insulted all the bigwigs and stuff. He insulted us by coming over here talking about transatlantic signings and, you know, coming over here with a slave mentality, with the slave masters mentality. And he did. That's the way he came over here. And not only that, but just telling a bunch of lies. That's the big thing right there, is that he's lying to the people. And he keeps getting caught telling lies. And we're not going to forgive him for that. We're not going to forgive him for it. We're not going to support anything he does. Nobody's going to support the DAZN app anyways. Even if he wasn't telling us much lies, we still wouldn't support DAZN because nobody buys streams over here. You know, so
Blood, but what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. I told people what was going to happen beforehand with when Eddie came to the US. What's going to happen is he's going to announce some signings. There'll be big names, and people say, I told you so. Eddie Hearn was right. He's made big name signings. What have you got to say about now? Eddie's coming to dominate the world. So he might take 2 or 3 signings. But you see, the difference between signing a fighter that's already established and signing a fighter that's unknown. And Hearn's going to sign fighters that are well known. And so therefore, that's going to build the brand, which makes sense. Makes logic to sign the brands, sign names that are already known in the boxing world. But Eddie will get full credit for that. And boxing fans say, we told you so. We told you so. Eddie signed some big names.
I don't think that there's anybody that I'll be interested in that he's going to be signing. I'll just put it that way.
Well,
Let's see if he's signed to Charlos or something like that.
Now, there was a story. I don't know how true this story was, but there was a story at one point that Wilder was being snaffled up, or was going to be snaffled up. That's what I heard. He was going to get poached. That's what I heard. A story. I don't know how true that story was.
No, I don't know
I
about
can't
that.
see it, bro. I can't see it, bro. I'm just gonna be real. Wilder's gonna be fucked up with him, man.
Before the Joshua thing, this was around the time that Wilder was going to have his second fight with Stavern. Back then.
Yeah, well, now he's since announced that he's going to be featuring his fighters on an app called The Zone. Who's going to fight on The Zone over Showtime or HBO or even ESPN? Nobody's going to know who you are if you sign for that. It's just crazy, man. This whole thing is.
Eddie Hearn is like the modern day David Caruth to the sport of boxing. You remember David Caruth?
Yes.
That's what Eddie Hearn is, man. I'm telling you, man. He ain't no good. He don't mean nobody no good, man.
The thing is, what I've got to say is Eddie has done. I do have to give the man some props for what he's done in the UK. He has done some good stuff in the UK in terms of bringing fighters together and all the rest of it. He's done that. His charismatic behavior has worked well in the UK, and you've got to give him credit for that. But because it works in the UK, that same model may not transfer well to the US. And so when you're so dominant in the UK, as he looks like he is in the UK, and he's got Sky TV behind him, he's got the Sky platform, which many people watch Sky, so he's got that platform behind him. He puts all his fighters on the Sky platform, so that's able to help him build the brand even faster still, as opposed to Frank Warren with Box Nation, and even Box Nation has with BT. So Eddie's done some good work there, and that needs to be credited, because I don't want people saying that I'm just bashing Eddie for the sake of bashing Eddie. He has done some good work with some of his fighters. There's been some very confusing and things that don't understand why he stuck Kell Brook in with Golovkin, which I think was a career ender for me. Stuck him with Golovkin, and then after that, stuck him straight in with Errol Spence afterwards, which was crazy. Now that never made no sense to me anyway. So there's some things he did when he had a Luis Ortiz, never made any sense. He signed Luis Ortiz to do what? Clearly not for Ortiz
to protect Anthony Joshua is why.
This is it. So now he signed Jarrell Miller to fight who? He's now fighting where he's going to fight Pulev, and I heard that Pulev fight now is in jeopardy. So,
Jarrell Miller is going around here in America telling American media that he's not signed to him, that he's opening his own shit. He's going to do his own thing. That's what he said. I'm telling you. I heard him. It's on YouTube.
So now we have to look at Danny Jacobs. What's he going to do? Danny, what's the next move for him and Danny Jacobs? Who's Danny Jacobs going to
fight? I don't know. I mean, go ahead, Trap House. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Blood. Go ahead, bro.
No. Go ahead, bro. You got it.
No, I was saying that's what basically, man. That's what I've been saying. That's all Eddie Hearn gonna do is give you these domestic level fights. He's not gonna give you no fight of significance. That's it. He's just gonna string you along. He gonna give you stay busy fights, but it's not gonna. I mean, they're not gonna be championship fights. And I'm gonna tell you the difference between Kell Brook and AJ. Kell Brook and Eddie also admitted that Kell Brook said that he wanted to make that fight. It wasn't no way out of that. Kell Brook told Eddie he was gonna make that fight regardless. So AJ really don't have no excuse. What's the difference between his contract and Kell Brook's contract?
Well, one's bringing in a lot more money than the other. That could be the start of it and the end of it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. All right. Let me see something. You take AJ out of Matchroom boxing. Take him away for a second. How many other pay-per-view fighters do you know they've got? Bona fide pay-per-view fighters.
None that I could think of.
That's what happens every time. I say, okay, take AJ away. Who else have you got as real bona fide pay-per-view fighters?
None of them.
They may bring up. They may pull up Amir Khan as a name. They may use Khan as a name.
They have to. They're
not a pay-per-view over here. That's for sure. Maybe in the UK.
And how they gonna use Kell Brook too? How they gonna? They can't use him as a pay-per-view unless he fight Khan. That'll be his last leg. He has to put Khan and Kell in the same ring.
That's right.
Huh?
That's right. Exactly.
That is pay. But only that fight because of their bad blood. Khan versus Brook is a pay-per-view fight, but in the UK it's a pay-per-view fight, not in America. That's not a pay-per-view fight in America. It would do nothing over here.
Okay.
No, he has to start over there though. If he lose AJ, he has to start back over there all over again by putting Khan and KL together. He has to get the cycle fire started.
The other question I've got to ask is Joshua a pay-per-view star in America?
No.
No. We both said that at the same time. No, absolutely not. His numbers reflect that. I mean, if you look at his fights in his numbers in his last 2 fights, he didn't even make 400,000. He did in a replay, but again, he just doesn't have the numbers for pay-per-view.
They don't even know his name over here. They either say who you mean, that the guy over there in Britain, the Britain guy, or the guy over there, over there across the water. They'll say something like they don't really know his name over here. You got to be a hardcore fan.
We know Wilder's name.
They know Wilder's name, but they don't know who Anthony Joshua is. Nobody could tell you his name.
Okay.
I know this for a fact.
If Dillian White beats Parker, does that make him a pay-per-view star?
In America or in England?
Good question. In the UK? Good question. In the UK?
In the UK, perhaps. Like I said, another thing about the UK is they never report their numbers, okay? Their numbers are not public access, right? Am I correct on that? Because I looked on Google, I could not find numbers.
I think numbers are mentioned. I think there are numbers that are mentioned, but numbers can always be manipulated.
It's not mandatory for them to be announced, though. Right?
Well, if numbers come out, they can be manipulated. We know that. But numbers are an illusion. And I'll tell you why they're an illusion. Now, because of social media, if we go back to the 90s, before there was Twitter and before there was Facebook, let's talk about who Britain had back then. I had this debate the other day. We'll talk about Bruno. We'll talk about Nassim Hamed. We'll talk about Joe Kazaki. Who else? Hatton, Kazaki, Bruno. Who else do we have? Ben Eubank. Lennox Lewis. Let's use those 6 fighters. All right.
Okay.
None of those guys had social media. No Facebook, no Twitter, no Instagram. We didn't have that. Right. And the casual market didn't have the audience that they have now. They didn't have that power. Okay. There are a lot of people were well versed in their boxing, more so then than now. And I believe that social media is an illusion. Like, you can buy followers on Twitter, you can buy followers on Facebook, and in terms of their fan base, you knew Ricky Hatton had a fan base. You didn't have to look on Twitter to see his followers. You saw Ricky Hatton when he left England and he went to America and he fought Pacquiao. When he left England and he went to fight Mayweather, you saw the crowds. You saw the people cheering for Hatton. You saw that. Could Anthony Joshua do the same thing in 2019 or 18? Can he do that with the same sort of support? We know Bruno had that support when Bruno fought in the UK and when Bruno came to America and he fought Mike Tyson twice. You can hear the chants, Bruno, Bruno. Will Joshua have that?
It seems like they're scared to find out, though, Brother Ingram. That's the whole thing. They're scared to find that out.
Well, I don't know how much, and this is, remember, people like the Hearns are accountants. So they're going to look at their numbers and they're thinking to themselves, this is business now. They look at the thing and say, hold on a second. How many of these people that are in the audience tonight, how many are going to book a ticket and put money in their back pocket to come and see Joshua fight in Vegas? How many people who can talk over the internet? But let's take it this way. Let's use Dillian White. And I have to use the Dillian White thing as an example. When he left the UK and he came to America, and Dillian White's a very popular guy in the UK. He came to America and he fought somebody called Malcolm Tan. And if you look at the arena, there was hardly anybody there. But in the UK, he's got a great fan base. He's got a great fan base. But having a great fan base, being on social media, doesn't equate to people putting their hard-earned money into their pockets to get out and see you fight live.
Because Dillian White has not done enough yet. That's why. Because Dillian White was given a #1 ranking that he did not deserve. He had not fought anybody in the top 10. Okay, now when Ricky Hatton came over here, he brought over thousands of British fans with him. When he came over here to fight Floyd Mayweather, okay? Now,
Yeah.
do I believe that Anthony Joshua could come over with that many fight fans?
I don't.
You don't think so?
No, because
so you don't think that all those crazy people that are on the social media that they're just full of crap that they wouldn't come over to support him?
I don't think the fans that were with Ricky Hatton, because you knew the fans that were with Hatton were more authentic. You knew they were authentic.
Yeah, I understand that. Definitely. That's true.
There was no Twitter, there was no Facebook. Now, I'd like to know if Ricky Hatton could have had those fans, yeah, and then been on Facebook, on Twitter, how that would have translated then.
So,
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm actually surprised to hear you say that he cannot bring the fans over. That now, Dillian White, I could understand because he had not put the work in. But Anthony Joshua, he has the Klitschko victory. He's got, and over there, he's really popular.
Over there, yes. But I'm talking about bringing him over here. How many fights has Joshua had in America? How many fights did Hatton have in America? Remember, Hatton fought in America.
But Hatton, when he fought in America before that, he wasn't bringing in a big audience.
Remember when he fought Collazo?
He fought Collazo. He sure did fight Collazo, but he brought over some British fans with him. But he didn't get he had a real huge fan base over in England that were willing to come over. So I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, when you look at Dillian White's last fight in England, then only like 6,000 or 7,000 show up. 6,000 or 7,000 showed up over there. So that's nothing compared to the 90,000 that Anthony Joshua, I guess, is bringing in. Okay, so I believe that the fans will come over. I believe that he could bring 10,000 over here.
You know what? But you know what? Even look, the thing is, see, the market is untested because he hasn't fought in America yet. What should have happened, in my opinion, I think Joshua should have fought. If he was going to fight anybody now, he should fought Jarrell Miller in America. That would have been a testing ground. Say, okay, Joshua's fighting in America. We are introducing him to the American audience, not on a bloody chat show. In America, fight Jarrell Miller, and then be on a chat show.
Yeah, you're right. We don't have nothing to test it off of, and that would have been.
You've got nothing to test it off, so you don't know how much this man can actually draw. You just don't. You don't.
Yeah, we don't know. All we can do is speculate.
And that proves our point even furthermore that these guys ain't Anthony Joshua fans, they're Eddie Hearn fans.
So that's what I'm thinking. So they're accountants, so they've got to ask themselves this question. They've got to think to themselves, okay, how much money? This is no fanboy stuff. This is actually talking with accountants. How much money do we think we can get from Joshua to come to America? How much are those fans are going to generate from here to America? How many of those fans can we get over? We knew Hatton, because Hatton had fought in America. There was testing ground. We could say, okay, Hatton fought over here. We saw what Hatton could do. All right. Bruno was loved by the British fans. He was loved by the British fans. He came to America and fought Tyson twice. Do you know what I mean? He fought Tyson twice. But, he also had a dance partner. Mike Tyson was the baddest man on the planet at the time. Do you know what I mean? So
basically, what you're saying is that the social media fans are false. That's what you're saying, pretty much. Absolutely. Which I do agree with a lot of that. The fans from back then that Bruno had, they were more legit because they weren't just there to win some social media argument or some back and forth social media drama. They weren't new boxing fans. They were the more traditional boxing fans that we were used to back then. So, it would be a kind of a testing ground to see Anthony Joshua come over here. And I really wonder how many of those fight fans will follow Anthony Joshua over here. That's a really good question.
I'm going to go out and say it, Blood. Exactly what he's saying, man. I'm going to come out and say it. Those fans are manipulated by Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They manipulated by Eddie Hearn. He done manipulated all these fan numbers and all that crap. We don't know how. Like that's why they don't want to test the market and see, see how it works out over here, because they don't believe all those fans will come over there.
So what could happen now with this Povetkin fight? Should Joshua be successful, he could say at the end, you know what? This is the last fight I'm having in the UK now. I'm going to conquer America. I'd like you to come with me to go and fight in America when I go and fight America against Wilder. Of course he needs to do it. Why the hell do you think he's in America at the moment? He was in America to promote himself, to sell himself. And, people say, oh, well, he had a fight come up with Deontay Wilder. So he had an excuse to be in America, to be on a chat show, to be seen by the NBA and people at the NBA game. He was seen then. But for me, it was all wrong. What he should have done is put Jarrell Miller in America, and Deontay Wilder should have had his ass over in the UK and fought Dillian White. So people could have seen Deontay Wilder in the UK. People would have seen Joshua in America. And then once those two guys have got through their fights, then at the end of the year, the big one between Joshua and Wilder. Because that way, both guys were cross-promoted. Both guys would have gone to one another's backyards and fought. We saw Wilder already come to the UK and fight against Audley Harrison in a one-round demolition job. But
Hey, now don't be setting it up for your next show with Dillian White now. Because Dillian White don't deserve that fight with Wilder now. He did not earn a fight with Wilder.
Blood, whether he deserves it or not is not my point. He's number one contender. It's great for Wilder to come across to the UK and get that fight, because he could say, I'm here. I'm in your backyard. I'm prepared to fight you. I'm here. Let's get that fight on. I'm in your backyard. Do you know what I mean?
You know what, man? I really like Dillian White, bro. I really like him as an individual.
Yep.
He's got a way more cool personality than Anthony Joshua. And I could see him actually coming over here and blending in with the Black American culture way before Anthony Joshua. I like him a lot, but my criticism of him is that he's affiliated with Eddie Hearn. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but I appreciate, I can understand the affiliation with, but if that's the way the man has to make his money, that's the way the man's making the money. You can't. I personally can't knock a guy because he's affiliated with somebody else. I mean, he's getting his hustle on. He should never have fought the fight against Joshua because when he did, because he was injured going into that fight and he wasn't fully fit going into that fight. I knew that. I'd been saying it for ages, but he still took the fight on in the hope that he could just to make the fight happen. That's how much he wanted to make the fight. Do you know what I mean? So I understand the whole affiliation thing, and I totally understand that. But he's done what's best for him. I've said for a while that I think that Dillian should make other moves and do other things. But it is what it is. So
it's probably best for him right now. But it's just that he's affiliated with Eddie Hearn. But I do like Dillian White, man. I really like him as an individual. I know sometimes I'll come in and I'll make a little fun of him, and I'll say, "Oh, he needs to get a new haircut." And stuff, but I'm just joking around, man. I really like Dillian White. Really, he's a really cool guy. He has a great personality. I think he could run a great promo too. He could really a fight between him and Wilder. That presser is going to be way more live than the one with him and Anthony Joshua. And he might even give us a better fight too, because styles make the fight. I just think Anthony Joshua was tailor-made for Wilder, but Dillian White will provide us with a different look, So I don't know.
I would love to see Dillian White versus Brazil.
Yeah, that's a fight.
That'd be a slamming fight. Yeah.
That'd be a real good shootout right there, man. Woo.
So the thing is, if anyone's going to argue me and say to me, "Oh, you're talking crap, you're hating Eddie Hearn and Joshua," I said, "All right, where is your evidence to prove that Joshua has got the fan base to carry to America, to Vegas? Who's going to buy tickets for hotels and for the fight and to look after themselves? Who's going to pay that money to see Joshua fight against Wilder in America? Where is the basis of, well, he fought here before and here's the ticket sales and this is what Joshua's done?" I'm surprised Showtime have not demanded Joshua to come to America and have a fight in America. I'm surprised.
What's going to hurt Joshua is the DAZN app. I'm telling you, man, let's go back to that real quick. And, man, this is serious talk. It's going to hurt his popularity here because people are not going to get the app. And then now we're not going to see him on Showtime. So if we're not seeing him on regular TV, then nobody here is ever going to get to know who Anthony Joshua is if he ends up on that DAZN app. I'm hearing that that's where he's going to be fighting. With us not seeing him on Showtime, on HBO, on ESPN, we'll never get to know who he is. What's going to happen, I'm predicting it early, is that Deontay Wilder is going to become a household name over here. If he could stay undefeated and move towards that legacy mark, he's going to become a household name, and Anthony Joshua is just going to be stuck on some app, only known over there. He's already big over there. What is he going to do to make his name here bigger? So since they're not going to fight next, then if we have that fight, it should be a huge fight. Now, me personally, I'm not going to be mad at Deontay Wilder if he decides down the line that he doesn't want to take the fight at all. But, you know, Anthony Joshua, I think he's a popular fighter over there, and I really do believe that the fans will come with him. I believe that he'll bring thousands out here with him, and I think it'll be a great fight even now. But it could be bigger later. But after all the shit they put Deontay Wilder through, I'm just going to side with Deontay Wilder at this time. You know, I'll admit that, hey, if I'm being biased here in this situation, I don't think I'm being biased because I think that Wilder was being treated unfairly, man. And if people can't see it that way, then, hey, I feel that they're being biased about the whole thing. And that's just the way it is at this time. But at least I'm admitting I'm going to support my champ, Deontay Wilder.
I have to say the interview that Deontay Wilder did on Showtime a few days ago would have done his popularity or his fan base no harm. I think it would have done him the world of good. He was speaking real. He wasn't off some PR stunt. He wasn't being, his words weren't choreographed. He was very honest and he was very real. And you could feel the intensity and the realness of the man. And, you know, AJ will need to respond to what's going on here, which for me, I think is an absolute PR disaster at this minute in time. Because, you know, what people have seen on social media is AJ say, 50 million, I'll take that. Just get me the 50 million, I'll take that. People have seen that. People will see that. I'll stick in people's minds. So now, I said this a while ago, that the British fans are going to turn on AJ. I said, when they turn, they're going to turn proper on him. And then it'll be very, very negative. And that turn has begun. That turn has begun. So, you know, the only way he can redeem it, is by going and fighting Wilder, I think. If he gets knocked out by Povetkin, that's not good. And if he goes, he's going to go to, I think he's going to go. A lot of people think Wilder's got to come to him. But I think now, because of all this nonsense, I think he may have to go to America.
Yeah, and I think it would do big money over here, too. It's going to end up being that way. The longer they wait, if Wilder and AJ do both stay undefeated, I think that, once again, because we're not going to know who AJ is over here and he's not being featured, Wilder is going to end up demanding that AJ comes over here to America. That could end up happening. That might end up happening. And then we might never get the fight. You know, I don't know. They just should have made it as soon as they could. Now would have been the best time to get this whole thing done and over with. But for whatever reason, they want to milk it out, and it's not a safe thing to do in the heavyweight division, in my opinion, especially looking back on history and looking at all the great heavyweights that's been knocked out, man. The brother you brought on here, Uncle, he was right about that shit, man. He was right about that. I mean, in the heavyweight division, it just takes one punch, man. Ask Lennox Lewis. You know, and Lennox Lewis is one of the greatest ever to lace him up. Point blank.
So, you know, I mean, everyone's got their opinion. Everyone's entitled to opinion, of course, and I understand that. And, you know, people will say Joshua's the man, Joshua's the man. Well, maybe so. But as far as I'm concerned, you know, this was the perfect opportunity for both guys to fight. If not, then there should have been a co-promotion where both guys either fought on the same card, which would have been fantastic, or they could have had something where Joshua fought earlier in the evening, Wilder fought at night, and maybe even I would like to see Joshua and Wilder fighting on the same night. That would be amazing. Have them both fighting on the same night, and we know that if those two guys are fighting, they both come for the fight. It is guaranteed. These two fight. At the end of the year, this fight will happen.
But for that to happen, though, bro, they would have to be aired on the same network, man. Because they did that back in the day. They used to have which one did they do? They did Larry Holmes and Big John Tate the same night, okay? But they did it in different locations, okay? But they aired it. They were both aired on HBO, okay? Yeah. Now you're not going to be able to do that when you have DAZN streaming, and then you have show. I mean, DAZN isn't even a channel. That it's a streaming site. So that's going to mess everything up. It's just going to make things complicated as hell. It would be nice if they could iron them things out, but do you really think they'll iron something like that out? Really?
I don't believe that Wilder gonna fight on the DAZN app anyway. I don't believe that he'll ever conform to Eddie Hearn anyway. I think there's too much bad blood that's taking place. I think AJ has to cater to Wilder a little bit in order for this fight to happen.
See, the thing is, the fight can still be negotiated, but there might be certain parties that may not be involved in the negotiation. It might be a case that Eddie may have to step back and Barry has to do the negotiation instead. These things happen. These things happen. So, I expect something along the lines to hear something along the lines of, "Oh, we're not going to let egos get in the way." That sort of talk.
Going back to your original point, though, brother, I do agree with you that a show on the same, the same night for them to have a fight each. One could be in England, one could be over here. But if it was aired one after the other on the same network, on the same show, that would be a big help. But I just don't see how they'll be able to do that in this day and age of boxing. I'd be surprised. I would love to see something like that. I do really, I'm going to say, man, I talk a lot of shit, but deep down, I really do want to still see this fight, and it's the fight I want to see the most. It really is. But I'm losing, I'm just losing interest as the days go by. Bro,
keep it real. What'll end up happening is you'll lose interest. And then when the fight is announced, you're going to be one of the first guys on it say, yes, the fight is on. It happens.
If they're still undefeated. But if one of them has been defeated, it's going to take away from the fight. You know it is. If one of these guys get knocked out, really, man, it's going to take away from the fight, man. It's not going to be as exciting as it would have been. I'll still be excited to see it, even if one of them loses. But I'm not as excited as I would be if they were both undefeated. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely. Hold on. I've got to give some shout outs to some people because I really might think I've known Fannin. Fannin, I'm sure it's Boxing International. Let me get it right.
Fannin International.
Boxing. Yeah, shout out to Fannin, my man. Big fan of your work and I appreciate you being in the room. Much shout out to you. Got a shout out to a few others as well. EJ Boxing, 78 Sports TV. Shout out to you in the room as well. Appreciate you. And any others that I have no messed out. EJ Boxing, great to see you in the room as well. So let me throw something else at you while you're in the room, while you brothers are still in the room. Let me throw it out to you, Blood. I once mentioned about the fact that Joshua Wilder shouldn't be held in America, should be held in the UK, but should be held in Africa, the same place that Ali and Foreman fought back in the day.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I agree with you 100%, man. It would have been great to see them do something like that, take it to, neutral ground somewhere else. And I thought Africa would have been a great location considering both of them have with their Nigerian backgrounds and things like that. It didn't have to go to Nigeria, but it could have went somewhere in Africa. Would have been nice. Though many of us probably would not have got to go see it live, it would have still been a big event on TV, and it would bring a big attraction to Africa. I think that Lennox Lewis and Rotman fought out in Africa too.
South Africa, yeah. Yep, they did.
Didn't they fight out in Africa, Rotman and
It was in South Africa. And when Lennox could not, he was there to go and see Mandela. And he said afterwards, Mandela said, "You come to see me and you end up laying down on the floor." Instead of with a title.
He got us a redemption, man, but it would have been nice to see that event go to Africa. It would have been big for both fighters. to get known more on a global scale, because that just like Ali and George Foreman, you know what I'm saying, or Lewis Rottman, you know, I mean, this could be done. You guys are supposed to be world champions, not just champions of America and England. You're supposed to be world champions. So I would have loved to see that, man. Actually, you were the first person I heard say it. I heard you say it one day, and I really liked what you were saying. I mean, I gave you credit when I first said it. I said I heard. I don't know if you heard me when I mentioned it, but I did say that I heard it on Baylor TV. He said it, and I'm saying it too, that this thing should go to Africa. I like that idea, man.
Appreciate it, brother. I'd like to, what I'd like to see is, like, you know, just imagine the build up to the fight. We've got the whole Zaire thing and Foreman and Ali, just remembering that time, and you've maybe seen pyramids in the background, real pyramids, and some African history, and really the whole build up, a whole tour of, you know, around, and the guys touring, you know, they go around, they do a tour, a world tour, London, you know, Canada, America, I don't know, India. They do a world tour, never seen before, a tour like that, you know, a month's world tour. To do that, going to different press conferences all around with Joshua and Wilder to really sell the fight, something that had never been done before, to do that, and to have it then in the motherland, to end in the motherland, both guys fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, and the proceeds and the money to that to go towards a boxing school and academy that could give other young people in Africa who may not have had the opportunity, the chance to box, and say legacy. This was opened by Joshua and Wilder. This is the academy for young Africans in the future. So we not only, boxing's about, you know, taking, but we're giving something back as well. The promoters are always taking something, give something back to the motherland. It'd be absolutely awesome. Could you imagine that? And then both coming to the ring at the same time, coming to the ring as, like, you know, back in the day, old school boxing, both champions coming to the ring, no bloody waiting 15 minutes for one champion to get out of a dressing room, both coming out at the same time. Both being brought into ring with African dancers and all the rest of it, all the glitz and glamour that we would have with that, just in Africa. It would be amazing, absolutely amazing. It's okay to have it in Las Vegas all the time. It's boring after a while. Let's have it somewhere else. They talk about Dubai, that'd be good. Let's have it in Africa.
But you know what? The only problem with that, though, is that AJ's scared to meet Wilder face to face. That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead, Trap House.
Oh no, I was just saying that I agree with him with the African thing, because I seen the Dog Boat interview, man. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Dog Boat, man. I like him.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that it'll be huge, man, especially the whole build up. You know, AJ with the Nigerian roots. Wilder said he got Nigerian. He said his father is Nigerian. So if they can get those stories up, and, you know, like you said, do a world tour, that'll be big, man. They have it over there in Africa, man. It will sell out in Africa. That'd be huge. That'd be huge. I think that would be very, very huge, man.
And do you know what else I would do? The ring that they're going to fight in, I would have a face-to-face, live, Joshua on one side, Wilder on the other. I don't know who will have to be the guy in the middle, but we need somebody good in the middle, and have that in the ring, a face-off in the ring that they're actually going to fight in.
They should bring in the middle, if they did have that, they should put like the former heavyweights in the middle. Like they should get Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson and them to Commander Holyfield and get a couple of them guys, you know, rather than these I don't want to say no names, but these stupid reporters. They need to get
that'd be amazing. And you know, they're quick to roll out Thomas Hearns when Canelo and GGG were fighting. They were quick to roll him out and say, oh yeah, Thomas Hearns in the commercial, all that sort of stuff. But I really think this would be amazing, absolutely amazing. Whether it would happen or not, I don't know, because of the mindset of the people behind this whole promotion, but it'd be amazing. But if both guys said it, if Joshua said it and Wilder said, let's make this fight in Africa, if both guys said it and demanded it, I don't think there's much a promoter could do, to be honest.
Do you think that Joshua would hide behind like the table when Deontay Wilder comes out in the same room, though? You think he'll hide under the table? I'm just wondering. I mean, he can't face him, so I'm just. He's gonna try to get one of the presidents from one of the countries to hide behind. Hey, let me hide behind you or something.
I think it should have Foreman and all them guys on there. They should all be interviewing them, passing the mic. You know, they each should have some questions for each one for Wilder and Joshua. Give a face-off interview while they standing in between them. You know what I mean? Have one guy on each end. They giving them a full-fledged interview, huh?
That would be legendary. That would build this shit into something astronomical. Involve the heavyweights from the past. Tyson, Lennox Lewis, George Foreman, Evander Holyfield. Shit, even bring Riddick Bowe fat ass in there. Bring all of these guys in there.
Larry Holmes.
Yeah, Larry Holmes. Yeah, bring all of them and bring them together and have some like event over there in Africa, man. That would make this a pay-per-view event. That would sell it into a pay-per-view event. But you know, the boxing media controls everything. Like, and all they care about is getting viewership, and so they talk about things that are irrelevant, such as money splits and all things that are that are divisive towards the fans and stuff. You know, they bring up all the stuff that make us go against each other when they should be making it a historical event. You know, like they used to do this back in the day. They used to.
But wait,
Marciano would fight. Joe Louis and all of them would come up there in the ring. Remember when Sugar Ray Robinson fought? All from the past would come in there and they would build it together, and everybody stayed together in boxing. You know, they'd help promote the event. The other champs from the past, and they'll announce them. They'll come out into the ring before the fight and stand in between the fighters. And they could make it a big event over in Africa and really make this into a pay-per-view event if we had a real boxing media that cared about legacy and things like that rather than money splits. You know, if they just went traditional for this right here, but this one fight, go back to the traditional way of the golden age, okay? For this fight, I think it would serve boxing better, and it'll come up with more money.
And to have some of the African royalty there as well. And don't forget Frank Bruno. You got to bring in Frank Bruno as well.
Bring Frank Bruno, the great British. Bring the British fighters out too, because Anthony Joshua was coming out of there for England. So you got to bring out, at least bring out Frank Bruno and Lennox Lewis is enough. That's all you could bring. You can't bring Gary Mason. You can't bring none of them other guys. You can only bring Frank Bruno and Lennox.
What about David Haye?
Nah, he's not. He only won the belt. His toe was hurting last I knew. You know, then he got beat up by Bellew. Nah. If it was a cruiserweight event, then you could bring Haye out for the cruiserweight event, but not for a heavyweight.
All right. What about? Okay, then. What about
Tony in there? If that's the case.
Was that?
If that's the case, we might as well bring James Toney in there.
Oh yeah, we might, because he ain't no real head. Henry Akawande, no. I mean, he had the WBO strap, but nobody. Nah, was he even supported over there in England? Did you guys really support Henry Akawande and what's the other guy's name? The Dancing Destroyer.
Yeah, bring Herbie over as well.
Support them guys. Did you guys support Hyde?
We can bring Herbie over because he's part of Africa. Bring Herbie over. I tell you what, Chuck Audley in as well.
But
they might as well bring Joe Budden over the way you talking. Go ahead and get Joe Budden.
But the truth is,
they might block some of them before they get across the border. They might block him.
Right. Yeah, I know. He's always in some trouble. Bugner. Is he still allowed? He's still suspended from coming over here? They'll probably arrest him, have him in handcuffs as soon as he gets to England.
Oh dear me! So, I just think that's for me building an event like that. But the man who could have pulled it off, and I know would have pulled it off, is Don King because he's done it before. King would have been the man who done that.
I agree. Don King would have been the best promoter for this. Go ahead, Trap.
No, I just want to ask Brother Ingram a quick question, man. What do you think about the American champs, the old ex-American heavyweight champions and Hall of Famers who act like they don't want to see this fight happen as well? What's your thoughts and opinions about that?
Well, you have to ask yourself the question why they don't want to see the fight. You could ask yourself what their agenda is. And you've got to ask yourself, well, what happened in their careers? And do they feel that they were given the attention or paid rightly or wrongly? So you've got to find out what their agenda is. Because, you know, I know, to me, it seems that there is something going on between Lennox and Joshua. Because I remember at a certain fight that he acknowledged everybody. He acknowledged Evander Holyfield, acknowledged everybody else, but didn't acknowledge Lennox Lewis. And Lennox kind of felt slighted like that. So I don't know if there's something between Lennox and Joshua there. So a former champion, you just never know what their agendas are. You know, so you ask some former champions and they may say to you, well, we don't like the way Deontay Wilder conducts himself. And the first thing they might bring to the agenda is, the way what happened with Deontay Wilder and Dominic Brazil. I don't know what's happened there, and really that's none of my business. But I've heard stories that he slapped Brazil in front of his wife and kids or something like that.
Brother did.
I heard that story. I've heard other stories, off-the-cuff stories about Deontay Wilder. Again, that's none of my business. But when former champions start talking about that and start saying, well, look at this guy. Well, if they're going to do that, and that's their reason, then they are being slightly biased because, I mean, Mike wasn't exactly an angel, was he? I mean, I know he was riled by the press in some ways, but Mike Tyson wasn't actually an angel. And in fact, to be honest, the heavyweight champions that are remembered are the ones that seem to have a bit of some sort of chaos in their lives. I'm not sure how many world heavyweight champions we've had, or America have had, that have not had some sort of chaos in their life. Muhammad Ali was exceptional to rule, but Muhammad Ali had his own chaos caused by external forces, and we don't have to go into that, but you all know what happened there with Ali. That was all political. But if you look at Bo, he ate himself out of the division. You look at, what's his name? Tyson. Well, we all know what happened with Tyson, rightly or wrongly, how he got convicted and all the rest of it with Mike. His whole life spiraled out of control. So there are other heavyweights as well, but it seems the guys that seem to be the most chaotic are the ones that seem to get the most attention. And it seems the guys with the loud mouths in America seem to get a lot of attention. And not even just the heavyweight division. If you look at someone like Andre Ward, who's very classy, one of my favorite fighters, very classy, but he never got I don't think Ward got the respect he deserved because he wasn't one of those guys who was out there and doing chaotic things. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's it. You just agree. There's nothing else.
No.
I agree with you. I'm like,
crap talk. I thought he was gonna say something, so I didn't say that.
Yeah, just no.
No, I agree. Go ahead, Trap.
No. I'm just saying I agree. That was it.
Okay, fair enough. Then.
I could add on to it. I mean, you have Lennox Lewis, and I think his reasons are justified as to why he's critical of Anthony Joshua. Okay, his reasons are justified because he too has been in that situation to where he's had several belts. In fact, one time he even carried an undisputed status. So he has every right to be critical of the moves that Anthony Joshua is making because he, as a champion, knows good and well that he would have came over here and fought Deontay Wilder in Alabama if they asked him to. And to be honest with you now, Lennox Lewis, I would favor. Prime Lennox Lewis, I would favor to beat Deontay Wilder. Okay. Prime Lennox Lewis, I would.
There are a couple of guys that would argue with you about Lennox Lewis. One of those guys would argue with you was Christopher Bird. He said that Lennox never wanted to fight him. He turned the fight down point blank.
Chris Bird. I mean, Chris Bird was a good fighter, man. He was a solid fighter. And Mr. Boxing Today did a video the other day where he spoke on Chris Bird's legacy. And I didn't realize that Chris Bird had the belt as long as he did. I do remember his reign. As far as him defeating Lennox Lewis, I mean, I don't see it, man. I really don't see where he would have had a chance against Lennox.
Blood. You got to remember, he got knocked out by Oliver McCall and he got beat by Hasim Rahman.
Yeah, but those guys have more power than Chris Bird. Chris Bird doesn't hit with the power of Rahman, nor Oliver McCall.
Okay, well, Zel Kamarovich wasn't a massive puncher, was he?
Well, you know, I'm just saying, I don't see him. I mean, you got a point there, but I still don't see him. You do have a point, but I don't see him I don't see him defeating Lennox Lewis.
What about the president at the time? The president was around that time as well. You didn't want to face the president.
Oh, Big Ike.
Uh-huh.
Now that would have been a good fight. That would have been a good fight right there. Now, you know, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research into why that fight did not occur.
And the other guy, Double M, Michael Moorer.
I have Lennox Lewis defeating. The only one I give a chance is Big Ike. That's it. That's
Michael Moorer knocked out 7-4 Mike the Giant White. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. But that's not Lennox Lewis, though.
No, Lennox could get caught, and Michael could punch.
Michael Moorer can't take a punch very good either, though.
Yeah, but you say that. You say that. I understand that.
I don't see it, man. I don't see Michael Moorer.
He's the guy that beat Evander Holyfield as well for the title.
Evander Holyfield and Lennox are two different fighters. Lennox is 6'5", 6'6", with a just a total different fighter than Evander Holyfield. Evander Holyfield got in the pocket against Michael Moorer. He went head to head with him. Lennox Lewis was jack of all trades, could do some everything. Keep him at the end of the camp. Oh man, it's lights out for Michael Moorer that night, man.
Both guys you mentioned there. Look, Oliver McCall was 6'2", 6'3". Rackman was what, 6'3", 6'4", maybe.
They punch harder. They punch harder, man.
I would definitely. I'd like to ask Mike the Giant White that question. Who would punch harder between Michael Moorer?
Oh, no, I mean Chris Bird. I'm not sure about. They're all in the same range, those guys. But Michael Moorer, I just don't see these guys beating Lennox Lewis. I don't know. You seem somewhat critical of Lennox Lewis. I'm wondering here. I didn't know about this.
No. Hold on. Back up here. I'm just saying there are other guys that could have fought in the era as well. And of course, the biggest one was Riddick Big Daddy Bowe. That fight never happened.
Well, we know why that fight didn't happen, because Riddick Bowe threw the belt away and didn't want to fight him again.
And that's one thing. That's one way of looking at it. And the other thing was, I was going to say, Lennox Lewis, he did fight Holyfield. He did fight Tyson. But when did he fight them?
Well, Tyson had an opportunity to fight him. Tyson gave his belt away. He did the same thing. He didn't throw it away. He didn't make a big public statement out of it, but he gave his belt away. He was the mandatory. He sued Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson he ran in the beginning. He didn't want to fight Lennox Lewis.
Right.
Lennox didn't want to fight Tyson.
Lennox won the first World Heavyweight Championship. How did he win it?
When he first won the title?
Yeah, he picked it out of a bin, and he had to fight Tony Tucker for the title, right?
Yeah, it was Tony Tucker.
He literally is the dustbin champion. Not these are Bo's words, but he's the dustbin champion. He picked a belt out of the bin, right? And
are you defending Riddick Bowe? Wait a minute.
Hold on. I'm only saying what has happened. I'm not knocking Lennox. The second time he fought Oliver McCall, correct?
Yeah.
The same Oliver McCall that knocked him out, correct?
Yes.
And that was then was that for the title? Was Oliver McCall champion, or was that for a vacant title at the time?
When he fought him again, I think was Oliver McCall. He was beat by Frank Bruno. So Oliver McCall didn't have the belt anymore, because remember, Frank Bruno defeated Oliver McCall. Okay,
so
I don't. Go ahead.
How did Lennox get the belt the second time?
How did Lennox Lewis get the belt back after he lost to Oliver McCall, you're saying?
Yeah. He came back and he fought McCall in that second fight, right?
He fought McCall again, but McCall didn't have a belt no more, from what I believe. I believe that McCall no longer had the belt.
That may have been a vacant belt he fought for that night.
Yeah, I just can't remember. That's the thing.
And then he fought Evander Holyfield.
Trap House.
And then he fought Evander Holyfield after Holyfield seemed better.
Had 2 belts when they fought. That much I know.
Yeah, but he wasn't the best at Evander Holyfield. It wasn't certainly wasn't the Holyfield that fought Riddick Bowe.
You know what? Actually, he did. He did fight. Maybe he did fight Oliver McCall
He
for
did
that
fight
for
twice.
the belt. Maybe the second time it was a belt on the line.
Yeah, it might have been McCall. Yeah, he might have had the belt, vacant belt.
There was a vacated belt. It was vacated, okay? Because the belt that he lost was the WBC belt. Then when he fought Oliver McCall again, I think they might have fought for either the IBF or the WBA. I'm trying to think back.
No, it was the WBC belt he fought back for. That was the day that McCall had that breakdown.
Okay, yeah, because he did win a belt that night. He did. You're right. So it was the WBC that he won.
And by the time he fought Holyfield, I mean, he wasn't. Holyfield by that time had been beaten. Wasn't it? I'm sure he. Wait, hold on.
Nah, Holyfield had some belts, man. Holyfield had 2 belts when they fought.
Holyfield had beaten Michael Moorer to get the belts, didn't he? He fought Michael Moorer to win it to get the.
I believe so. But Holyfield had 2 belts when they fought, though. He had 2 belts.
Yeah. And then he fought. That's how they become. That's how he was crying undisputed after that, wasn't it?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, I like Lennox. I'm a big fan of Lennox Lewis. I'm a massive fan of Lennox Lewis. But you know, the guys he got knocked out with, McCall and Rackman. You know, I don't think they're any better than Michael Moorer. I don't think they're any better than Chris Bird.
Well, any of those guys had a chance, like you said, man. It's the heavyweight division. Like we were saying earlier, we used Lennox Lewis as an example. When we were saying that they need to fight now, just ask Lennox Lewis, you know. Any of these guys could have probably beat Lennox Lewis, but it's just that some of these guys were afraid of him, such as Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe. You know, 2 of my favorite fighters from out of America in the 1990s, but they was afraid of Lennox Lewis. Mike Tyson did eventually man up and fight him, but Riddick Bowe never had the courage to fight Lennox Lewis. It was always every excuse in the book because he was having them flashbacks from the Olympics, I guess. But when he had that Jerry curl, but you know, I think Riddick Bowe should have came in good shape. He should have went in there and fought Lennox Lewis, and he had a good chance. He was a very good boxer. If he could have came in good shape right after he fought Holyfield, when they got face to face, that's when they should have fought. If they would have fought right then, he had his best chance.
You think about it, Lennox always had problems with somebody who had a good jab. Frank Bruno being a perfect example of that fight. It took Lennox 7 rounds to get himself together against Bruno.
Yeah, it did.
I'm back.
Trap House?
No, I just said I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Who do you think would win Lennox Lewis and Riddick Bowe, Trap, if they fought?
Who I thought would have won?
Yeah, if they fought prime for prime, if they got in their ring.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Apparently, I have to go with Lennox because evidently, you know, he didn't feel like he was confident in taking that fight, man. And I can't go with no scared man. Even at the end of the day.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so I have to go, but that's a tough fight, man. If it wasn't if you just take the fear out, I don't know, man. I probably still have to go with Lennox though. I'm a Lennox Lewis guy. I like Lennox. I like Riddick Bowe too. Riddick Bowe, bad boy, but I think I have to go with Lennox, man.
I know people talk about Lennox Lewis and say, well, Lennox Lewis is potentially one of the greatest heavyweights, but I'd like to know how he'd have handled Ike, because potentially Ike could have beaten them all, potentially.
Yeah, man. I mean, the guy was a beast, man. He beat Chris Bird and he beat David Tua, and you know, he was on his way, man. But it's just that he just couldn't keep it together outside the ring, man. It's unfortunate, man. But I would have loved to have seen that fight. Now I give him a great chance. You know, during that turn of the century time period, I give him a great chance against Lennox Lewis or anybody for that matter. He would have beat. I think he would have beat guys like Mike Tyson or Holyfield. I think he would have beat Holyfield too.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Gents, I'm going to bring this to an end unless anybody else has got something to say. I want to thank you both for being absolutely phenomenal guests, guys.
Hey, man, I talked a lot of boxing today, man. It was great, man. I really enjoyed it. Talking with you, Trap House. talking to Uncle, man. It was a great experience, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, same here, man. Same here, man. I appreciate coming to your platform. You know, like I said, it was an honor and a pleasure being able to come talk boxing with you, and looking forward to come back.
Trap, I appreciate you as well. Thank you guys both. Blood, for people want to know how to contact you and how to subscribe to your channel, let people know now.
Okay, yeah. You could subscribe to me on YouTube at Blood Boxing Returns. All one word with a Z at the end instead of an S.
Trap House.
Oh, okay. YouTube Trap House Boxing, and Instagram Trap House Boxing, and Twitter at Trap House Boxing.
Fabulous. Right, I think that's about it. And special shout out to my man in the room who's just popped in. I've just noticed him there as well. Mr. Boxing Today. Man, we got to catch up, man. I haven't seen you in ages, Mr. Boxing Today. You need to get back on the channel. So respect to everybody in the room. And, we're all heated. We all have different passionate opinions of boxing. But basically, we all can agree on one point here. We all want to see Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua fight. No talking about gates or talking about how much one man's making, another man's percentage. I don't give a damn about that. I don't think anybody else really in the room cares about it. All we want is to see a fight between two of the best heavyweights in the world and cut all the propaganda out, all the fake news out, and let's get the two guys head-to-head fighting in the biggest fight ever seen in world boxing. That's it from me. Thank you all so much. Once again, we appreciate you. See you soon. Take care.